I want you to do something radically different today. Not tomorrow. Not next week. Not someday when you think you'll be ready. But today, right now. In this sacred instant, I want you to say to yourself, with absolute inner authority, I'm a multi-millionaire from today. Not a wish, not a hope, not a goal, a fact. A spiritual fact. And once you claim this inner truth, do not entertain the old man, the former self who doubted, who feared, who waited for signs. You are not to wait. You are not to ask how. You are not to consult your bank balance, your job, your current environment, or any outer condition. All of these are reflections of past assumptions. And you are stepping out of that past now. Today is the day you become radically honest with the only power that creates reality, your imagination. Do you not realize that everything in your world, yes, everything is nothing more than the projection of an internal assumption? Your outer world is the shadow cast by the light of your inner speech. So I ask you again, are you speaking from poverty or wealth? Are you affirming limitation or expansion? Are you seeing yourself as someone struggling to become a multi-millionaire, or as someone who has already received it and is now enjoying the ease of it? You must understand assumption when persisted in hardens into fact. Not by accident, not sometimes, not depending on what mood God is in. No, this is law. The law of consciousness, the law of assumption, the law of imagination. Call it what you will. It does not care what name you use. It only responds to the state you dwell in. So I urge you to dwell in the feeling that you are now a multi-millionaire. See the world through the eyes of one who has already achieved it. What does the morning feel like when you wake up as a multi-millionaire? How do you walk? How do you speak? How do you carry yourself in rooms in silence in your own company? There is no need to fake this in the outer world. This is not about acting for the eyes of others. No, this is done in secret, and your Father who sees in secret rewards you openly. You will not need to hustle or beg or prove anything. You will not need to manipulate or struggle or pretend. You will know. You will radiate because reality conforms to the internal picture, not the other way around. Your desire to be a multi-millionaire is not a vanity. It is not greed. It is not something to be ashamed of or to suppress. It is the voice of God within you calling you to expansion. Every true desire is a divine command. You were not given the desire to mock you. You were not shown the vision so that you could live in torment. You were given the desire because it is already yours in another dimension. And your work is not to earn it but to align with it. So say it again. Not as a plea but as a declaration. I am a multi-millionaire from today. Feel it, breathe it, live it. Walk through this day and all the days to come in that state. Let others say what they want. Let them call it delusion, fantasy, madness. But remember what I tell you now. The world is yourself pushed out. So if someone calls you mad, it is simply an old belief echoing back to you. Do not engage it. Do not fight it. Simply assume a new inner conversation. When you look in the mirror, see the face of wealth. When you sit down to eat, eat as one who eats in abundance. When you rest at night, rest as one who has everything already accomplished. You don't try to be a multi-millionaire. You are one. You're not convincing the world. You are convincing yourself. And once you are fully convinced, the world will mirror back your conviction in exact detail. If it must take a change in circumstances, so be it. If it must rearrange your job, your location, your social circle, let it happen. The law takes care of all of that. Your business is simply to feel from the end and persist there. The rest is none of your concern. What does a multi-millionaire do? He or she does not wake up wondering how to survive. He does not scramble. She does not panic. The multi-millionaire thinks from the mountaintop, not from the valley. He gives freely. She blesses others with generosity. There is a stillness, a calm, a boldness in the way such a person lives. You do not become that person through effort, but through identity. It is identity, not action, that precedes manifestation. You do not get rich to feel rich. You feel rich and you become rich. This is what the world does not understand. They chase shadows and deny the source. But you know better. You know that feeling is the secret and your inner speech is the mold into which life is poured. What is your inner speech right now? What are you saying to yourself? Are you rehearsing debt, worrying about bills, or are you feeling the solid satisfaction of being wealthy beyond measure? You can change it. You can revise it now. Revision is not just about fixing the past. It is about reshaping the present. You can override any belief, any memory, any pattern, and replace it with the assumption of wealth. And that assumption will then clothe itself in reality. Do not look for the signs too early. Seeds do not sprout because we dig them up daily to see if they're growing. No, you plant the seed of I am a multi-millionaire and you water it with feeling. You give it the sunlight of inner peace. You trust. You know that the harvest is inevitable, and soon people will say to you, "How did you do it? What changed?" And you will smile not arrogantly but gently. You will say, "I assumed it, I lived it. I believed before I saw, and now I see what I believed." The old version of you may scream and cry and try to hold on. Let it die. The small self, the fearful self, the worried self, that version must dissolve so the new self can emerge. This is a resurrection. You are dying to your old self and rising as a multi-millionaire. That's what it is. That's why it feels strange. That's why you sometimes feel discomfort or resistance. It is the old man trembling before he is cast off. Let him go. Let her go. They have served their purpose. Now you must serve your highest self. This version of you that has millions, he or she is already within you, waiting, longing to be acknowledged. You do not need to chase money. You only need to awaken as the one who already has it. Once you do, miracles will become mundane. What others call supernatural will become your daily life. Opportunities will emerge from nowhere. People will appear to assist you. Events will rearrange themselves in your favor. But none of this is the point. The point is you have shifted from thinking of yourself as poor to knowing yourself as rich. And that shift changes everything. You may find people around you reacting to this change. Some will be drawn closer. Others will fade away. Bless them all. You are not here to convince or convert. You are here to awaken. And once you are awakened to your power, to your identity as a creator, then wealth is no longer something to desire. It is something to assume, something to embody, something to share. Let the world call it madness. You know it is truth. Let the world ask for proof. You are the proof. Do not argue, do not explain. Do not beg the world to believe. You walk in faith, and your faith is the evidence of things not seen. Faith is not blind. Faith sees what the physical eyes cannot yet see and knows it as real. Today you walk not by the world's facts, but by the truth of your imagination. Today you leave behind the old conversations, the fears, the doubts, the begging. You stand tall and say, I'm a multi-millionaire from today. And you do not flinch when the old reality contradicts it. You simply persist, persist, persist. You rise in consciousness to the place where you already are. That is what you are doing now. You are climbing not in the physical but in the spiritual. You are entering the state of the wish fulfilled. And once you enter it, your world cannot help but reflect it. So today, speak only that which you want to see. Think only those thoughts that align with your assumption. Feel only that which confirms your wealth. You are no longer the one who wants. You are now the one who has in the world, as a faithful servant will deliver to you all that you assume in perfect time and perfect order. It is not magic. It is not manipulation. So take your eyes off the calendar. Time is an illusion. You are not manifesting over time. You are manifesting through state. Enter the state now. Dwell there. Saturate yourself in the knowing that you are now and always have been a multi-millionaire. Not just financially, but in love, in health, in peace. You are abundance in human form. From this moment forward, let nothing shake your assumption. Let no outer condition pull you back. The furnace of life may test you, but it cannot destroy you. Walk through it as Shadrach did with the fire burning, but not consuming. Your faith is the fourth man in the fire. When you come out, not even the smell of smoke will cling to your clothes. So rejoice, dance, laugh, give thanks. Not for what will come, but for what already is. You are a multi-millionaire. Not becoming, not hoping, not wishing. You are. This is your truth. This is your identity. This is your assumption. And the world, as it always does, will follow. You will begin to notice first subtly, then undeniably that your reality starts to move. Conversations shift. Unexpected income appears. A check arrives. An opportunity presents itself. A person reaches out. But you are not surprised. You are not amazed, because you know this is simply the outpicturing of your new state. This is the echo of your assumption returning in form. You remain unmoved by delays. You remain centered through moments of contrast. Why? Because your conviction is rooted in the unseen. And that unseen is more real than anything you've touched. The world of appearances is the past in motion. You are concerned only with the present in consciousness. The only point of power. Each morning as your eyes open, you no longer wake as the person trying to make ends meet. You no longer wake as the one struggling to pay bills. You wake as the multi-millionaire. You wake as the fulfilled version of yourself. You rise from bed not just physically, but energetically. You rise in awareness, and awareness is the only currency that matters. You will walk through your day with a quiet certainty. Not boasting, not proving, but simply knowing. Knowing who you are, knowing what is yours, and from that knowing you give, you radiate. You bless others without fear of loss. For how can one who lives in the infinite ever run out? There is no lack in the state of wealth. There is only overflow. And so your thoughts are no longer obsessed with getting, but with expressing. You create not to survive, but because it is your nature to do so. You give not to earn, but because it is your joy. And when fear tries to whisper, when the old voice creeps in to say, but how, or what if it doesn't work? You do not wrestle. You simply return. Return to the state. Return to the feeling. Return to the knowing. I'm a multi-millionaire from today. You let that truth dissolve all doubt. You let it flood every cell of your being, because that's all it is. A shift in being. You no longer ask the world for permission. You no longer seek validation. You no longer wait for confirmation from others. You are the confirmation. You are the source. You are the operant power. You are not a victim of life. You are the architect of it. You begin to notice how people treat you differently. Not because they've changed, but because you have. You no longer tolerate what you once did. You no longer feel out of place in places of power. You belong there now because you've accepted that you are powerful. You do not shrink. You do not apologize for your greatness. You walk into rooms knowing that your presence alone shifts the atmosphere. Why? Because you are radiating wealth. And wealth is not money. It is consciousness. It is substance. It is vibration. Others will sense it. They may not know what has changed, but they'll feel it. Some will admire it. Some may resist it. Some may leave. You are not here to convince. You are here to embody. And your embodiment is your message. And so, even in solitude, you feel full. Even in silence, you feel rich. Even in stillness, you feel powerful. Because your power is no longer tied to action. It is tied to awareness. You've divorced yourself from the old identity and married the truth of who you are. This is the resurrection the scriptures speak of. Not just the rising from death, but the rising from smallness, from poverty of thought, from the belief in lack. You are risen into abundance. You are risen into glory. You are risen into glory. You are risen into your God self. And now you see that everything you once chased was always within. The car, the home, the freedom, the luxury, they are not the treasure. You are the treasure. And they are simply reflections of your realized worth. You see now that the inner journey was always the real one. That the bank balance was only a mirror. That the credit score was only an echo. That the success others saw was only a symptom. And the root of it all was your state, your inner dwelling place. And so you protect that state as sacred. You return to it daily. You meditate on it. You feed it with gratitude. You clothe it with imagination. You bless it with your words. And you live from it. Not visiting it like a tourist. Not flitting with it for a moment. But living there, remaining there, making it your permanent address. And life as it must bends to your new center. You no longer chase, you attract. You no longer beg, you expect. You no longer doubt, you assume. And in this state, everything is added unto you. Not by struggle, not by toil, but by law. So you smile, even when nothing outside has changed. Yet because you know that change is inevitable, it's already underway. You've stepped into the elevator and the floor is rising. Whether you feel it or not, your only task is to stay in the elevator, stay in the state. Let it carry you, and soon the outer world must conform. Not maybe, not hopefully must. This is law. This is truth. This is you, and you affirm it again. Not to make it true, but to remind yourself that it always was. I am a multimillionaire. From today, as you move through this new identity, something shifts on a level deeper than words. You begin to understand that the feeling of wealth is not loud. It is not boastful. It is not urgent. It is still. It is peaceful. It is sure. There is no grasping, no reaching, no chasing. There is only being. You are no longer striving to make something happen. You are allowing what already is to unfold. This shift in vibration sends signals to everything around you without effort, without force. People begin to respond differently. Circumstances bend to your presence. Doors that were once closed open with ease. And if one does not open, you do not panic. You know another one because you live in the consciousness of supply. You are no longer at the mercy of opportunity. You are the opportunity. In this realization, you start to treat yourself differently. You speak to yourself with more kindness. You invest in yourself. You no longer delay your desires. You do not wait to be rich to feel rich. You feel it now. You allow yourself the luxuries in your imagination, knowing that this is the first place they ever exist. You sit in your mind's palace, and you furnish it with the finest things, not to escape, but to prepare, because your outer world is only catching up. The people who come into your life now will reflect your new standard. You will attract clients, partners, friends, and lovers who mirror the abundance you've accepted. There will be no more room for those who play small, who speak of lack, who gossip, who doubt. You will not push them away. Life will do that for you, because your vibration has made the choice clear. You are now living from wealth, and wealth does not argue with limitation. It simply outgrows it. Even your movements become more deliberate. You walk slower, not from laziness, but from confidence. You speak with fewer words, not because you have less to say, but because your words now carry weight. There is power in your silence, because you are rooted in the state that knows. And if ever your old thoughts rise up, the ones that say this is too much, or I don't deserve this, or who am I to be rich, you do not suppress them, you meet them with compassion. You look them in the eye and say, "Thank you for trying to protect me, but I am safe now. I am free now. I am worthy now." Because wealth, true wealth, is not just about money. It is about wholeness. It is about freedom of mind, richness of spirit, and expansiveness of heart. And when you live in this consciousness, the money comes not because you chase it, but because it's the natural outpouring of the state you embody. You find yourself giving more, not just to impress, but because you have more to give. You bless others, not out of obligation, but out of joy, and each act of giving expands you. It reinforces your identity. You are not giving to get. You are giving because that is who you are. When moments of contrast arise, because they will, you meet them as the multimillionaire would. You do not panic. You do not complain. You remind yourself, this too is shaping me. This too is part of the unfolding. You remain unshaken because your reality is anchored in the unseen. And what you know in consciousness must become what you see in form. And so you keep choosing each hour, each moment. You choose again. I am a multi-millionaire from today. You say it when you're happy. You say it when you're happy. You say it when you're sad. You say it when it looks like it's working. You say it when it looks like it's not, because you are not swayed by appearances. You are loyal to your assumption. And that loyalty is what moves mountains. You go to bed at night not asking for a miracle, but thanking life for the miracle already in motion. You rest in peace knowing that the law never fails. You rest in gratitude, knowing that your dream is not a fantasy. It's a preview of reality. Even your dreams at night begin to change. You dream of wealth, of joy, of fulfillment. You wake up in the middle of the night with ideas, with inspiration, with clarity. You are no longer haunted by lack. Your sleep becomes sacred. Your mind becomes your sanctuary. all the while without any conscious effort. Your world reshapes itself to match you because you have changed. You are not waiting for proof. You are not waiting for a sign. You are the sign. You are the proof. You are the walking evidence that imagination creates reality. So continue, persist, remain, hold fast to the inner knowing. Keep living in the end. Keep thinking from the outcome, not of it. Keep your inner speech aligned. Keep your heart open. Keep your vision clear. Because every assumption you persist in must externalize. Every inner state you dwell in must reflect. Every truth you claim must become visible. And it all begins with one statement spoken not in hope, but in power. I am a multimillionaire from today. You notice now that this declaration isn't something you repeat to make it happen. It is something you affirm because it has happened in the invisible realm of consciousness. The moment you assumed the state, the reality was born. And just like a seed planted in the soil, it needs no further proving, only nurturing, only watering with belief, with emotion, with inner stillness. There's no struggle in deceit. It does not push. It does not strive. It simply knows what it is, and it unfolds into form with divine intelligence. So you too must stop striving. You must stop questioning. You must begin to allow. You must let yourself be wealthy. Let yourself be abundant. Let yourself have you are no longer at war with yourself. No longer in conflict with the idea of wealth. You have reconciled within. And that reconciliation will be echoed in your external world. You are no longer rejecting the good that wants to come. You are receiving it. You are opening the gates because now you understand. It was never about what you do. It was never about effort. It was always about identity. Always about what you accept is true. And from today, you have accepted the truth that you are wealthy beyond measure. That abundance flows to you and through you. That money is just one of the many reflections of your inner richness. This truth begins to move through every aspect of your life. It changes the way you carry yourself. You begin to notice details. How you sit, how you breathe, how you smile. You hold your shoulders differently. You answer questions differently. You walk into a room differently. Not with arrogance, but with quiet certainty, with dignity, with presence. Because wealth is not something you put on like a costume. It is something that radiates from the inside out, and you are radiating now. You are glowing with the power of someone who has remembered who they are. Others will sense it. They will ask you what changed, and you would tell them not with pride, but with clarity. I remembered that I am the operant power. I assumed my desire is already fulfilled. I made peace with the end and I live from it. In that moment, they will see not just a multi-millionaire in terms of finances, but a master of self, a soul aligned, a being awake. You have stepped out of time, out of lack, out of confusion. You are now in the eternal present where all things are possible, where the only question is, what do I choose to dwell in? And you choose to dwell in opulence, in generosity, in the sweetness of freedom, in the stillness of certainty. Not someday, not eventually, but now. For today is the day you become the version of you that has always existed in imagination. Today is the day you walk not as a seeker, but as one who has found, not as a beggar, but as one who blesses, not as one waiting for the world to give, but as one who gives to the world through the radiance of their state. And that state, that assumption, that knowing, it is unshakable. It is irreversible. It is who you are now. Because you are not merely becoming. You are not aspiring. You are not hoping. You are a multi-millionaire from today. And this I am is not a whisper anymore. It is a thunderous inner declaration. It pulses through your being. It pulses through your veins. It saturates every thought, every feeling, every breath. And without needing to shout it to the world, you know it. Deep, steady, immovable. You have entered the state where nothing is missing. Nothing is lacking. Nothing is out of place. You are not seeking to be rich. You have embodied wealth. Now even the little things begin to change. The way you handle your wallet, the way you look at prices, the way you speak to people. No longer from lack or anxiety, but from ease, from fullness, from I have. And this shift becomes your magnet. It draws circumstances, people chances, yes, miracles, because you are no longer the one asking. You are the one assuming. You are no longer tethered to old patterns. You have severed ties with the identity that needed proof before belief. You now believe before proof. And so proof rushes in to meet you. And even if no evidence showed up today, it would not matter because you do not live by the outer. You live by the inner. You trust the unseen more than what your five senses present. For the senses only report what has already been imagined. You understand now that the world is a canvas and your consciousness holds the brush. So you no longer react. You create. You no longer collapse under pressure. You command not by force but assumption, not by muscle but by mind, not with fear, but with vision. In this vision, you already see it. The properties, the travel, the freedom, the giving, the joy, the stillness. You see the digits in your accounts and smile not with surprise but with recognition. You nod internally and say, "Of course, I knew it. I felt it all along because to you it is already familiar, already natural, already part of who you are." And this naturalness is the key. For nothing manifests until it feels natural to the mind. That is why you no longer wait to feel worthy. You no longer try to earn your desire. You accept it. You wear it like your own skin. You let it live in you like breath. And as it becomes natural, it becomes visible. You are not chasing the millions. They are chasing you. Drawn not to your effort, but to your energy. Drawn not to your action, but to your assumption. Drawn not to your hustle, but to your certainty. And so you walk with this inner richness into every moment. Not needing anything, not proving anything, just being, just expressing, just unfolding. Because you've learned now, the more you try, the more it slips away. But the more you rest in it, the more it arrives, the more you relax, the faster it flows. The more you surrender to the knowing, the more the world reveals your truth. And what is that truth? That you are a multi-millionaire. Not tomorrow, not next year. Not eventually, from today. And because it is from today, it means the past no longer has a hold on you. Every story you used to tell about struggle, about failure, about how hard it's been, all of it has dissolved. You no longer identify with the version of yourself who almost had, who tried so hard, who just needed a break. That version is gone, released, thanked perhaps, but gone because a new self has taken its place. A self that doesn't operate from wounds, but from wholeness. You don't look back anymore to analyze or explain. You don't trace the reasons why you weren't rich before. You don't rehearse the problems or try to fix what was broken. Why would you? You are no longer in that state. You don't fix the past from the past. You transcend it. You outgrow it. You step into the new man, the new woman, the new self who never lacked to begin with. You realize that it was never about becoming anything. It was about remembering. Remembering that you've always had access, always had the power, always had the choice to enter a new state. No one was withholding anything from you. No one was punishing you. You were simply asleep to who you really are. But now you're awake. And in that awakening, you are reborn. Not physically, but emotionally, energetically. You walk into the same house, but you are not the same person. You answer the same phone, see the same contacts, live in the same body, but you are operating from a new center of gravity. The world didn't change. You did. And that shift is enough to alter the course of everything around you. The money, it comes. Of course it comes. It always comes to those who expect it, to those who claim it, to those who feel from the end. But when it arrives, you're not surprised. You're not even overwhelmed. You're peaceful because it matches you, because it belongs to the version of you've become, and because you never really wanted money. You wanted the feeling of being limitless, of being supported, of being free. Now you have it. You don't wait for external symbols to feel secure. You feel secure now. You don't need a number in your account to feel valuable. You feel valuable now. You've stopped measuring yourself by the world's rulers. And now you measure yourself only by the depth of your being. And from that depth flows abundance. When you look out of the world, you no longer see separation. You see mirrors. Everything reflects your state. So when things come easily, you smile. You know it's because you are resting in the frequency of ease. When challenges arise, you don't spiral. You adjust your inner dial. You ask, what must I assume now to remain in alignment? You don't ask the world to change. You don't demand that others make you feel wealthy. You take full responsibility. You assume the state. You dwell in it. You nurture it. And that dwelling becomes your temple, your place of power, your command center. You said continue generating without concluded paragraph. ChatGPT said, and from that command center you no longer send out requests. You send out decrees. You are no longer hoping the universe listens. You know it responds unfailingly to the tone of your inner voice. And your inner voice no longer trembles. It no longer begs. It speaks with clarity, with finality, with quiet assurance. I am wealthy. I am supported. I am chosen. I am a multimillionaire from today. You speak it not to convince yourself, but because it is the only truth you now recognize. Everything else was an illusion. Temporary shadows cast by old beliefs, by former identities that no longer hold power over you. You do not resist them. You simply outshine them, and they dissolve in the light of your new awareness. Even time begins to feel different. It bends around your state. What once took months now arrives in weeks. What once required years now unfolds effortlessly, because you are no longer operating from human effort alone. You are harmonizing with divine law, the law of assumption, the law that creates worlds, the law that brings the invisible into form. So every breath becomes a prayer, not of asking but of knowing. Every glance becomes sacred because you are seeing from the eyes of wealth. You are seeing the world as finished, not in progress. And in that completion, you walk freely. You walk with expectancy, not anxious, but receptive. The people around you begin to notice. They may not understand what changed, but they'll feel it. They'll feel your ease. They'll feel your detachment. They'll feel that you no longer grasp, no longer chase, no longer prove. You radiate certainty, and certainty is irresistible. Your aura changes. Your posture changes. Your words become fewer but heavier. You no longer need to say much because your very presence speaks volumes. When you enter a room, you don't seek attention, but attention finds you. Why? Because you are no longer emitting the frequency of wanting. You are broadcasting having, and having is magnetic. You begin to make decisions from this new state, not reckless, not ego-driven, but calm and expansive. You say yes to things you once feared. You say no to things that no longer match. You invest in yourself. You honor your time. You trust your instincts. You no longer ask, "Can I afford this?" But does this align with who I am now? Who you are now is someone who no longer entertains the vibration of lack. Not because you're avoiding it out of fear, but because it simply isn't part of your field anymore. You've transcended it. You've outgrown it. Like a child no longer fits in last year's shoes. You no longer fit in poverty of mind. It's too small for you now. It pinches, it restricts, and you've expanded beyond it. You've made wealth your new normal. Not a peak experience, not a lucky break, but your baseline. You've so deeply saturated your being with the feeling of abundance that anything less feels foreign. And the universe, which always confirms your identity, rushes in to support that new standard. So you don't hustle, you don't worry, you don't overthink, you align. You rest, you receiving. You give because you are now a source. Not a seeker, but a source. And that giving multiplies, that sharing blesses. That generosity opens new channels because you've come to understand the greatest truth of all. What you give from the state of I have returns to you multiplied. Now it is all flowing. Resources, ideas, people, timing, all flowing in divine orchestration, and you smile at how easily it unfolds. You no longer marvel. You simply nod. Of course, it's happening. You persisted. You remained. And now, as you stand at the end of this revelation, hear these words. Not just with your ears, but with your soul. You are a multi-millionaire from today. Not because the world said so. Not because your bank balance confirmed it, but because you assumed it. Because you dared to step into a reality not yet seen by others, but fully lived within you. You accepted your inheritance, not from man, but from the divine within. This is not the end of a speech. This is the beginning of a new way of living. From this moment forward, you will walk differently, think differently, speak differently. You will create not from effort but from knowing. You will no longer seek the path. You are the path. You will not look outward for evidence. You will live inward from certainty. The old story is over. The old self is gone. The curtain has lifted, and you are revealed. Not as someone trying to become rich, but as someone who already is. And everything in your world will now rearrange to mirror this truth. Persist in it, rest in it, honor it, live it, because your world is simply waiting for you to decide. And today you decided, so go now. Not as someone wishing, not as someone waiting, but as one who knows I am multimillionaire from today. And nothing can stop for when an individual awakens to the divine pattern within. They cease to wander in the fog of doubt and step instead into the clear light of assurance. For assurance is faith spoken into form. And as they hold fast to this inner conviction, new channels of good present themselves. sometimes quietly, sometimes swiftly, but always rightly. For nothing moves before its appointed time, and yet nothing is delayed when the consciousness is prepared. The person who knows their true identity no longer chases outcomes, for they understand that what belongs to them arrives by the law of attraction through harmonious means, and what does not belong to them dissolves without struggle. They become a vessel of calm intention, speaking words that align with truth, acting with confidence born not of ego, but of spiritual certainty. And as they do, the outer world rearranges itself with precision to mirror the renewed order within. Every inspired idea is a messenger, every step a declaration, every choice a seed of unfolding good, for the one who abides in divine alignment moves with quiet authority, knowing that pathways appear as they advance, obstacles yield as they stand firm in faith, and the unseen becomes seen when the inner word is unwavering. And so they walk forward, with the quiet certainty that every right idea contains within itself the power to manifest. For divine inspiration never arrives empty-handed. It comes bearing the blueprint and the supply, the guidance and the protection, the opportunity and the courage to accept it. And as this individual listens more closely to the still, small voice within, they become attuned to signs that once went unnoticed, blessings that once seemed accidental, and provisions that now appear with flawless timing. They discover that right doors open not through strain, but through spiritual receptivity, and that every seeming delay is but divine preparation, arranging people, places, and circumstances in perfect order. No longer distracted by fear or swayed by outer noise, they hold their vision lightly yet firmly, knowing that what is rooted in truth must unfold. With each day, their confidence deepens. With each aligned action, their path brightens. With each prayer spoken, in faith obstacles melt like mist before the morning sun, for they have learned the sacred rhythm of intention and surrender, discipline and trust, and in this harmony they move forward, knowing that every thought held in faith becomes a bridge to its own fulfillment. For the universe responds unfailingly to the clarity of one who understands their divine authority. And as they speak words of truth, those words carve new channels for good to flow, dissolving the remnants of old limitation and sweeping away the shadows of past belief. They recognize that nothing stands between them and their highest good except the unspoken assumption that separation exists. And once that illusion is released, supply, opportunity, and creative ideas move toward them with effortless ease. Their mind becomes a garden tended with wisdom, where doubt is uprooted, fear is banished, and only the seeds of harmonious outcomes are allowed to take root. And as these seeds blossom, the individual witnesses the unmistakable evidence of spiritual law in action. The right connection appearing when needed, the perfect solution unfolding in simplicity, the gentle nudges of intuition guiding each step, reminding them that divine order is never absent, and that every sincere affirmation sets unseen forces in motion to bring forth blessings long prepared. And so they continue to walk with a steady heart, a trusting that every step taken in faith is met by provision. For they have learned that the invisible always precedes the visible, and that the soul's quiet certainty carries greater power than the world's loudest doubt. And as they continue to align thought, word, and action with divine truth, they discover a new ease in the unfolding of their affairs. For nothing can obstruct the one who knows the law works through them, not against them. They move with peaceful assurance, recognizing that success is not a matter of chance but of consciousness, and that their renewed identity draws to them the people, ideas, and opportunities that resonate with their highest good. The path becomes straighter, the burdens lighter, the outcomes clearer. For every choice made in truth expands their good, and every moment of trust amplifies their progress. And so they advance with quiet power, no longer driven by fear or haste, but led by the steady guidance of divine wisdom, working in perfect timing, perfect order, perfect harmony. Knowing that what is theirs comes easily, and what is not dissolves harmlessly. For nothing can stop the one who stands firm in faith and walks forward in the light of their true identity.
There are words which, when spoken with faith, become living seeds planted in the fertile garden of the subconscious. These words hold power, not because of their sound alone, but because they are charged with the belief of the one who utters them. Thought is a vibration, speech gives it form, belief makes it substance. The unseen responds instantly to the spoken word, and what is declared in faith begins to clothe itself with visible conditions. Money, though often misunderstood, is but a symbol of supply. It flows like water to those who recognize its divine source and allow it to move freely, without fear or resistance. Lack is never in reality. It is but the shadow cast by doubt and unbelief. Abundance is the eternal truth, and when one aligns with that truth, great sums of money may rush forth from expected and unexpected channels. The secret lies not in striving, nor in anxious labor, but in speaking the word with unwavering certainty. The lips may utter many phrases, but only the declaration rooted in conviction carries the current of manifestation. To say it once, just once, with the full force of faith, is to set in motion the invisible machinery that brings wealth into form. The universe is not deaf, nor is it slow to respond, rather it is precise, exact and swift when the command is clear. One must stand as if already in possession, speaking as the owner of riches rather than the seeker of them. The subconscious mind, like a faithful servant, obeys the tone of authority. When you speak your word with assurance, it does not argue. It does not delay, it only proceeds to fulfill. The spoken decree becomes law in the unseen, and soon the outer life reflects the inner declaration. To attract large sums of money, one does not beg, plead, or chase. These actions only affirm lack. Instead, one must recognize that money is an obedient messenger, ready to serve its rightful master. It comes to those who speak to it as to a trusted friend, with confidence, with certainty, and with love. Fear chases it away, faith calls it near. The one who says the word once, with the fire of absolute belief, does not need to repeat it in desperation. For the word, once spoken in faith, is eternal. It travels swiftly through the unseen, gathering substance, arranging circumstances, opening doors, and touching hearts, until the sum declared is delivered. Therefore, prepare the inner chamber of thought. Sweep it clean of doubt, fear, and unbelief. Fill it with the fragrance of expectancy. When the mind is still and the heart is steadfast, speak your word, not many times, not with wavering, but once, with divine certainty. In that single utterance lies the key to riches untold, for the universe always answers the clear, fearless voice of faith. The spoken word becomes law in the unseen, for the unseen is the realm of cause, and the visible world is but its effect. Every word uttered is more than mere sound. It is vibration, energy, and command. When one speaks, the word travels outward, but it also travels inward, impressing itself upon the subconscious mind, which is the silent builder of all conditions. The subconscious does not argue, nor does it reason. It only accepts the vibration impressed upon it. Therefore, when words are spoken with authority and faith, they pass beyond the surface mind and become the decree that the unseen forces obey. Throughout time, the power of the spoken word has been emphasized in sacred teachings, parables, and wisdom traditions. In the beginning, creation itself was called forth by a word. This is no idle poetry but a profound truth. Speech is a force that sets into motion currents unseen by the physical eye. When one speaks, thought is clothed in sound. And sound is the bridge between the invisible and the visible. Just as a seed planted in soil begins to grow in darkness before it breaks into light, so too does the spoken word germinate in the unseen before appearing as visible results. Every individual carries within themselves the creative power of the word, yet many scatter it carelessly, speaking of fear, lack, and limitation, unaware that such words also take root. To say, I cannot, I lack, or I fear is to write law upon the subconscious, and the unseen world rushes to confirm it. The law is impersonal. It does not choose between good or bad, rich or poor. It only mirrors what has been spoken with belief. Thus, to understand that the spoken word becomes law is to understand both the peril and the promise of speech. If one guards the tongue and speaks only words of power, prosperity, and health, the unseen aligns itself to produce those very conditions. The spoken word carries its strength not only in sound but in tone, conviction, and intent. A word uttered timidly has little power, for it carries hesitation and doubt. But a word spoken with calm certainty, with the quiet authority of one who knows, resounds through the unseen like a trumpet call. The subconscious does not respond to repetition alone, it responds to the vibration of belief. A single phrase spoken once with complete faith carries far more power than 100 words mumbled with uncertainty. The law of the unseen listens not to the many words, but to the energy behind them. When one declares, I am rich, I am supplied, or I am divinely provided for, the unseen takes these words as commands. The subconscious mind immediately sets about rearranging circumstances, people and events to reflect this declaration. The channels may be hidden, the methods unknown, but the law is sure. The unseen is the workshop of creation, and words are the blueprints handed to it. To speak poverty is to design poverty, to speak abundance is to design abundance. The blueprint does not question, it builds. It is essential to recognize that the spoken word is not mere affirmation but law. Affirmations, when recited without belief, are often like scattered seeds upon rocky ground, quickly withering. But when one speaks as though the decree is already established, with the dignity and authority of truth, then the unseen is compelled to act. Law does not delay. Law does not forget. The law of the unseen is precise and exact, delivering according to the decree. This is why words of doubt, spoken even in jest, can plant seeds of delay, while words of faith spoken in stillness can overturn mountains of impossibility. Consider how the spoken word operates in everyday life. A parent tells a child they are clever, capable, and strong, and over time, the child grows into that vision, because the subconscious has accepted those words as identity. Likewise, a parent who calls a child foolish or weak plants those seeds, and the unseen world produces circumstances that mirror the identity spoken over them. The law is impartial, it responds to all words spoken with authority. Every casual phrase, every careless declaration is a seed. Thus, one must cultivate the habit of speech, as one cultivates a garden, pulling up the weeds of complaint, replacing them with words of power and beauty. The word, once spoken in faith, does not fade into nothingness. It continues to vibrate, to create, to draw to itself the elements necessary for fulfillment. Just as a seed does not sprout immediately yet is alive beneath the soil, so too the word spoken with belief may not show instant results, but is alive in the unseen. Doubt uproots the seed, faith leaves it planted. One who knows this truth speaks the word and then rests, certain that the law is working beyond sight. The unseen is never idle. It is ceaseless in its operation, faithful to the decree. The spoken word is also magnetic. It attracts to itself like vibrations, drawing circumstances, opportunities, and even people who match its tone. To speak of wealth draws wealth. To speak of joy draws joy. To speak of health draws health. Conversely, to dwell on misfortune, disease, or limitation is to magnetize those very conditions. The unseen is a perfect mirror, reflecting what has been projected into it. If one desires prosperity, one must speak prosperity. If one desires harmony, one must speak harmony. The law is unfailing, and the word is always the beginning of creation. When the spoken word becomes law in the unseen, the individual stands as a co-creator with the divine. Every phrase uttered with faith is an act of creation, a decree that the invisible forces hasten to fulfill. The one who understands this principle no longer speaks idly, no longer indulges in careless words of lack, criticism, or fear. Instead, they measure each word, knowing that it carries weight in the unseen. They speak deliberately, with confidence, with clarity, and with power. Their words are few, but each is charged with conviction. The law of the unseen does not measure length or volume, it measures belief. One word of faith outweighs 1,000 of doubt, for the law hears only the vibration of certainty. The spoken word becomes law in the unseen, and in that moment of speech, the future is written. Each declaration shapes the path ahead, for the unseen does not delay. It begins at once to form the conditions spoken. To say, "I live in abundance," is to set the unseen in motion to arrange abundance. To say, "I am always provided for," is to activate channels of provision. To say, "Large sums of money come to me," is to invite the law to fulfill that decree in ways beyond comprehension. The unseen does not fail, it cannot. It is bound by its own precision to obey the command impressed upon it. Money is a symbol of divine supply, not struggle. For it is never an end in itself, but a representation of the infinite abundance of life. To believe money is scarce or difficult to obtain is to mistake the symbol for the source. The source of all supply is infinite, limitless, and ever flowing, and money is one of its channels of expression. Just as a stream of water is evidence of the vast ocean from which it originates, money is but a trickle of the great sea of substance that lies unseen. The individual who understands this truth ceases to chase after money with fear or anxiety, for they know the supply is already theirs by divine right. Money is not a master, nor is it a tyrant. It is a servant and a tool, designed to flow in and out freely, carrying with it the energy of circulation. Struggle arises only when one clings to it in fear or pushes it away in resentment. Many believe that to possess money is to be burdened with greed, or that to desire wealth is to sin against spirit. Yet such beliefs are rooted in ignorance of the truth. Money itself carries no moral weight. It is neutral, taking on the character of the one who holds it. In the hands of one filled with faith, it becomes a channel of blessing. In the hands of one filled with fear, it becomes a symbol of loss or lack. The substance itself is pure, and it flows abundantly when it is recognized as part of the divine order. When one begins to see money as a symbol, rather than a struggle, a great shift takes place. Fear subsides, anxiety dissolves, and effort gives way to ease. The law of supply is simple. What one recognizes as truth manifests in form. If one views money as scarce, the law provides conditions of scarcity. If one sees money as limitless, the law provides opportunities and channels to mirror that belief. The unseen world is abundant beyond measure, and money is one of its easiest and most natural expressions. It does not require toil, sweat, or endless striving to appear. It requires alignment with the principle that all is provided. The individual who struggles for money often does so because they see themselves as separated from supply. They believe they must labor endlessly to grasp a small portion of what is available. But in truth, there is no separation. Just as a branch is nourished by the tree without effort, so is the individual sustained by the infinite source. Money, when rightly understood, flows naturally, without resistance. The moment one releases the thought of separation and affirms unity with the divine supply, doors open, channels appear, and provision arrives in perfect timing. The struggle ends, because the struggle was never necessary. It was only a shadow cast by false belief. Money is energy in motion, and energy must circulate. The attempt to hoard, to cling, or to lock it away from circulation, interrupts the flow and creates stagnation. Yet when money is recognized as a symbol of divine supply, one gives it freely, receives it freely, and trusts the cycle of circulation. The ocean does not fear that its waves will not return, for each tide follows the rhythm of eternal law. So too does money return when it is allowed to flow with ease. Generosity becomes natural, gratitude becomes constant, and fear of loss dissolves. One cannot lose that which is infinite in essence. One can only block its flow through belief in lack. Money, as a symbol, responds to thought and feeling. When it is pursued with desperation, it retreats, for desperation is rooted in the recognition of absence. When it is welcomed with joy and gratitude, it flows, for gratitude is rooted in recognition of abundance. The individual who sees money as struggle chases endlessly, never catching, for their belief in struggle is what the law reflects. But the individual who sees money as divine supply attracts it without effort, for their belief in abundance draws abundance. The unseen law is impartial, and it answers precisely according to recognition. There are those who labor heavily, believing money to be earned only by pain and sweat, and yet they find themselves always in lack. There are others who labor lightly, even joyfully, and find themselves continually supplied. The difference lies not in the outer work, but in the inner recognition. Work itself is not the source. It is only one of many channels through which the infinite supply flows. To mistake the channel for the source is to create dependence and limitation. To recognize the source behind the channel is to remain free, knowing that if one channel closes, another must open. For the source is infinite and cannot be exhausted. Money should never be confused with possession, nor should it be feared as fleeting. It is like air, always present, always circulating, always sufficient for all who breathe. The breath does not struggle, it flows. So too does money, when it is seen rightly. To think of it as scarce is to close the lungs of the soul. To think of it as abundant is to breathe freely. The more one trusts in its flow, the more naturally it comes. The less one fears its absence, the less absence appears. The unseen always reflects the consciousness held within. When one sees money as divine supply, gratitude replaces grasping. Each coin, each bill, each transaction becomes a reminder of the infinite abundance behind it. To give is to participate in the circulation of supply, and to receive is to affirm its presence. Neither giving nor receiving is superior, both are expressions of the same current. The one who hesitates to receive blocks the flow as much as the one who hesitates to give. To see money as struggle is to resist this circulation, but to see it as symbol is to participate fully in its dance. Money never comes from struggle, but from recognition. The great sums of wealth that appear in the lives of some are not accidents, nor are they unfair gifts. They are reflections of the inner state of recognition. One who knows themselves as united with infinite supply will naturally attract and hold money, not by clinging but by resting in the certainty of its flow. One who fears lack will repel money, even if it arrives for a season, for their inner recognition drives it away. The law is exact, responding not to effort but to belief. Money is a symbol of divine supply. And this truth is the foundation of ease in financial matters. The one who understands it does not labor with anxiety, nor do they hoard with fear. They see every dollar, every coin, every gift, and every opportunity as a reminder of the infinite. They rest in the certainty that supply is constant, that money flows as naturally as breath, that it is never the object of struggle but the evidence of abundance. In this recognition, they align with the law of supply, and money, obedient to its nature, flows toward them in ever-increasing measure. Faith-filled speech attracts, fear-filled speech repels, for the vibration carried by words is the true magnet of experience. Words are not empty sounds, they are carriers of energy, wrapped in the tone of belief with which they are spoken. The subconscious mind, and the greater unseen forces of life, do not respond to the outer syllables, but to the inner conviction behind them. When words are spoken with faith, they are charged with a force that draws to them the conditions of fulfillment. When words are spoken with fear, they repel good and summon the very conditions feared. The law of attraction through speech is unerring, for it does not distinguish between wanted or unwanted, it only mirrors the vibration impressed upon it. The power of speech lies in its ability to clothe thought with sound. Thought alone creates vibrations, but when given form through the spoken word, its potency multiplies. A thought of wealth kept silently may begin to shape the inner atmosphere, but a spoken word of wealth carries the vibration outward, striking not only the subconscious, but the universal field of energy that connects all things. When such a word is uttered in faith, it becomes a decree that sets unseen currents into motion. Like a command to loyal servants, it is obeyed without question. Yet when a word is spoken in fear, the same law operates, but in reverse. Fearful speech becomes an order for lack, limitation, and loss, and these conditions hasten to obey as faithfully as wealth and abundance do. Faith-filled speech is not mere repetition of positive phrases. Its power is not in the words themselves, but in the conviction that animates them. One may say, "I am prosperous," 1,000 times, yet if fear lies beneath, the vibration of lack overrides the sound of prosperity. But when one says it once, from a heart filled with certainty, the unseen responds immediately. Faith transforms words into living seeds, bursting with creative power. Fear drains them of life, leaving them empty shells that produce only shadows. Thus, it is not the number of words, but the quality of belief that determines their outcome. Faith-filled speech has a drawing power, because faith itself is a recognition of truth. To speak in faith is to align with the reality of abundance, harmony, and provision that already exists in the unseen. Such words call forth what is already present, bringing it into visible expression. Fear-filled speech, on the other hand, aligns with illusion, declaring as truth the false appearance of lack. Because the subconscious does not distinguish between truth and falsehood, it builds conditions according to the belief carried in the word. When one speaks of failure in fear, failure is drawn near. When one speaks of success in faith, success rushes to meet them. Every word spoken is like the planting of a seed. The soil of the subconscious receives it without question. A word of faith, planted and watered with expectancy, grows into a tree of abundance. A word of fear, planted and watered with anxiety, grows into thorns of limitation. The soil is neutral, it does not choose what to grow. It is the sower who chooses the seed, whether of faith or of fear. Most people scatter seeds of fear without realizing it, speaking of bills, debts, illnesses, and failures as though rehearsing them could relieve them. In truth, such speech only strengthens the very conditions they wish to escape. The one who guards their tongue and speaks only faith-filled words begins to see transformation, for their garden grows fruitful with blessings. Faith-filled speech attracts because it vibrates with expectancy. It is as though the speaker already lives in the reality of their word. When someone declares, "Money flows to me easily," and does so with calm assurance, the vibration sent forth is one of already having. That vibration magnetizes the matching condition. Fear-filled speech repels because it vibrates with absence. To say, "I never have enough money," with conviction is to impress upon the unseen the reality of lack, which then reproduces itself faithfully. The law is not partial, it obeys both faith and fear with the same accuracy. The tone of the voice, the feeling behind the words, and the imagination that accompanies them all contribute to their magnetic power. Words spoken with faith are usually calm, steady, and sure. They carry no trace of desperation. They ring with certainty, and the subconscious hears them as commands. Words spoken with fear are often frantic, rushed, or heavy. They carry doubt, and the subconscious hears them as warnings to create the very conditions feared. The unseen cannot differentiate between what is desired and what is dreaded. It only echoes back the vibration impressed upon it. It is not uncommon for individuals to wonder why their affirmations do not work, even as they repeat positive phrases daily. The answer lies in the hidden vibration behind their words. If fear dominates their inner state, the words of faith are neutralized, like seeds scattered on rocky ground. But when fear is replaced with trust, even a single word spoken with faith carries immense power. The unseen world does not measure quantity but quality. A whispered phrase of belief can outweigh 1,000 shouts of doubt, for it is the vibration, not the volume, that creates. Faith-filled speech attracts opportunities, resources, people, and circumstances that match its vibration. It acts like a magnet, drawing into form the conditions already declared. Those who continually speak of prosperity in faith soon find that doors open for them in unexpected ways. Ideas come, chances appear, and money flows. Their words create a current that pulls abundance toward them. Fear-filled speech, on the other hand, pushes away good. Those who continually speak of lack repel prosperity, even if it attempts to reach them. Opportunities slip away, doors remain closed, and difficulties multiply, for their words push abundance aside as surely as faith-filled words draw it near. The individual who understands this principle becomes deliberate in speech. They no longer speak casually of fears or limitations, for they know every word plants a seed in the unseen. They discipline themselves to speak only words of faith, even in the face of appearances to the contrary. They do not deny the facts of life, but they refuse to give them power through fearful speech. Instead, they declare the higher truth of abundance, health, and success, knowing that the unseen responds to faith, not appearances. Faith-filled speech attracts because it resonates with divine law, while fear-filled speech repels because it resists it. Faith is harmony with truth, while fear is discord with it. When one speaks with faith, they step into alignment with the abundant order of the universe. When one speaks with fear, they fall into opposition, blocking the flow of good. Both faith and fear are creative forces, and both find their expression through the spoken word. The wise choose faith, knowing it alone has the power to attract the good that is already theirs by divine right. Speak once with certainty, not repeatedly with doubt, for the word spoken in faith is like a decree etched into the unseen, and it does not fade nor lose its power once declared. The subconscious mind does not require endless repetition to obey, it requires clarity, conviction, and assurance. When a word is spoken once with absolute certainty, it carries the full force of creative law, and the unseen moves swiftly to bring it into form. To speak the same word again and again with uncertainty is to weaken its vibration, for repetition born of fear plants the seed of doubt alongside the seed of truth, and the harvest becomes confused. The great creative law responds instantly to authority. Just as a servant does not need to be commanded 1,000 times to perform a single task, so too does the unseen not require endless insistence. One command spoken clearly is enough. The moment the word is spoken with certainty, it is written upon the subconscious, and the unseen begins arranging circumstances, events, and channels to fulfill it. To speak it again with doubt is to suggest the law has not acted, which is to withdraw faith and delay manifestation. The difference lies not in the number of words spoken, but in the spirit from which they come. The one who understands the power of certainty speaks sparingly. They know that a single phrase, when charged with unwavering belief, holds more power than 1,000 utterances born of fear. They do not rush to repeat their decree, nor do they question its fulfillment. They rest in calm assurance, knowing the word has been planted, and that the soil of the unseen is faithful to grow it. To speak once in certainty is to plant a seed and trust the process. To repeat with doubt is to dig up the seed, questioning whether it has taken root, and in doing so, one prevents it from sprouting. When one says, "Large sums of money come to me," and says it once with conviction, the subconscious receives it as fact. The unseen responds, setting into motion invisible currents that align with the statement. The word is now alive, traveling through unseen realms, gathering the elements necessary for fulfillment. There is no need to repeat, for the decree has already been issued. But when one repeats the same phrase in fear, saying it with hesitation or desperation, they are no longer affirming abundance, but instead affirming lack, suggesting that the unseen has not yet answered. The energy of doubt cancels the power of the original decree, and the flow is delayed. Certainty carries with it an unmistakable tone. It is calm, steady, and unshaken by appearances. The voice of certainty does not plead, does not beg, and does not waver. It declares as though the thing spoken is already established. This is why the unseen obeys so faithfully, for the vibration of certainty matches the reality of the unseen, where all good already exists. Doubt, however, speaks with urgency, with strain, with the sound of one who believes they are still lacking. The unseen mirrors this vibration as faithfully as it mirrors certainty, creating conditions that reflect doubt. To speak once with certainty requires faith in the law. It requires trust that the unseen is obedient and exact, that once the word is spoken, the process is already underway. Many fail to trust this law, and so they repeat endlessly, as though the unseen were deaf or indifferent. In truth, the unseen is neither deaf nor forgetful, it is precise, responding instantly to faith-filled speech. The repetition born of fear does not remind the unseen of the command. It only reveals the speaker's disbelief in the fulfillment. Faith is the assurance that one utterance is enough. The principle can be seen in every aspect of life. When a person of authority gives an instruction, it is followed without question. They do not repeat themselves, for their word carries weight. The same is true in the realm of the unseen. To speak once with certainty is to speak as one who knows their authority. To repeat with doubt is to speak as one who questions their own power. The unseen obeys the one who knows, for the vibration of certainty is irresistible. It draws the fulfillment swiftly, while doubt pushes it farther away. One must also understand that certainty is not loudness. It is not the force of volume that compels the unseen, but the inner strength of belief. A whisper spoken in faith can carry more power than a shout spoken in fear. The unseen does not measure words by sound but by vibration. A single word, quietly declared with certainty, echoes in the unseen until it brings forth results. Repetition with doubt, no matter how loud or frequent, falls empty, for the vibration of disbelief drains its power. There is wisdom in speaking once and then resting in silence. After the decree is made, one must live as though it is already true. To continue repeating it with uncertainty is to confess it has not been fulfilled. But to move forward in confidence, acting and thinking as though the word has already manifested, strengthens the vibration of certainty. The unseen responds not only to words but also to the atmosphere carried after they are spoken. A life lived in expectancy, gratitude, and assurance reinforces the word spoken once in faith, ensuring its swift fulfillment. This principle reveals the difference between commanding and begging. To command is to speak once with authority, knowing the word is law. To beg is to repeat endlessly, hoping to be heard. The unseen does not respond to begging, for begging carries the vibration of lack. It responds to commanding, for commanding carries the vibration of possession. When one commands with certainty, they declare themselves aligned with abundance. When one begs with doubt, they declare themselves separate from it. The law reflects both states faithfully. The mind that doubts seeks constant reassurance. It repeats phrases, not to affirm truth, but to soothe its own uncertainty. Yet this very repetition creates more uncertainty, for each time the phrase is spoken with doubt, the subconscious is reminded of lack. The cycle continues, and manifestation remains out of reach. But the mind that believes requires no reassurance. It speaks once, with calm certainty, and then turns its attention to gratitude, expectancy, and joy. It does not question, it does not seek proof. It simply rests in knowing. To speak once with certainty is to align fully with the principle that the unseen is always at work. It is to understand that words are not suggestions but decrees. The one who speaks in certainty knows their word cannot fail, for it is backed by divine law. They know the unseen is already arranging the path, already aligning the channels, already preparing the manifestation. Their confidence is unshaken, and so their word is fulfilled quickly. To repeat with doubt is to show mistrust in the law, and mistrust delays what certainty would have delivered. The spoken word is like a key turning a lock. Once the lock is opened, the door swings wide. There is no need to keep turning the key. To speak once with certainty is to open the door to abundance. To keep repeating with doubt is to rattle the handle endlessly, as though the door were still closed. The law of the unseen is exact and unfailing. It answers once the decree is given, but only certainty keeps the door open long enough for the fulfillment to enter. The subconscious obeys the tone of authority, for it is the silent servant of the conscious mind, receiving every command without question or hesitation. It does not reason, it does not analyze, and it does not debate. Whatever impression is given to it with conviction becomes its law, and it sets about to manifest it in the visible world. The subconscious responds not to idle words or half-hearted phrases but to the authority with which those words are spoken. A weak and uncertain command carries little weight, but a word spoken with confidence, with assurance, and with certainty is received instantly and acted upon. The subconscious is like fertile soil, ready to grow whatever seed is planted. The seed is the spoken word, and the condition of growth is determined by the authority behind it. If one speaks timidly, as though unsure of their right to abundance, the seed falls lightly and produces little. If one speaks boldly, as though declaring truth, the seed sinks deeply into the soil and begins to grow with power. The subconscious does not care whether the seed is of prosperity or lack, of health or sickness, of success or failure. It only cares how it is planted, whether with authority or with uncertainty. The tone of the command is what determines the harvest. Authority in speech is not loudness, nor is it force of personality. It is the quiet, steady confidence that comes from belief. A whisper of certainty has greater impact than a shout of fear. The subconscious hears beyond words. It feels the vibration of conviction. When the conscious mind speaks, as though what is declared is already true, the subconscious accepts it as fact and moves to bring it forth. This is why declarations spoken once with faith can carry more power than endless repetition spoken with doubt. Authority does not beg, does not plead, and does not question. It declares, and in that declaration, it commands the unseen to obey. The subconscious is impartial. It does not choose between good or bad, success or failure, wealth or poverty. It simply obeys the command given with authority. When someone says, "I can never get ahead," and speaks it with conviction, the subconscious ensures that circumstances reflect that statement. When someone says, "I am always supplied," and speaks it with equal conviction, the subconscious ensures that opportunities and resources appear. The law is exact, and it never fails. The subconscious only asks, "What is the command?" and then proceeds to fulfill it. The conscious mind, through the tone of authority, decides the direction of life. The tone of authority is cultivated through faith. When one truly believes that their words carry power, they speak with a natural authority that the subconscious cannot resist. Faith fills the voice with conviction, and that conviction is the signal that the subconscious obeys. Doubt weakens authority, for doubt produces hesitation in speech. A command given in uncertainty is like an arrow that falls short of its target. A command given in faith strikes true and sets the unseen into motion. The one who believes in their own power to speak reality into form speaks fewer words, but each word is heavy with authority. The subconscious operates constantly, shaping conditions and drawing experiences in alignment with the commands it has received. It works tirelessly, beyond waking awareness, arranging people, circumstances, and events to fulfill the law impressed upon it. This is why casual speech, careless phrases, and idle declarations carry such weight. Even when spoken without thought, words delivered with emotional charge become commands. Complaints spoken in frustration, fears voiced with intensity, doubts expressed with conviction. All of these are heard by the subconscious as authority and are acted upon. The wise therefore guard their speech, knowing that every word carries seeds of creation. Authority in speech is not only about words, but about the feeling behind them. The subconscious is moved by emotion, and emotion adds weight to the command. A declaration of abundance, spoken with joy, gratitude, and certainty, carries tremendous authority. A declaration of lack, spoken with fear, anger, or resentment, carries equal authority in the opposite direction. The subconscious obeys both with equal precision, for it does not judge, it only fulfills. This is why it is essential to speak not only words of truth, but words filled with the feeling of truth. The vibration of authority is born from the union of word and emotion. When one says, "I am wealthy," but speaks it with hesitation, the subconscious remains unmoved, for the tone lacks authority. When one says, "I am wealthy," with calm assurance, as though stating a fact already established, the subconscious accepts it without question and begins to create the outer conditions to match. Authority is not loud, forceful, or dramatic. It is steady, unwavering, and confident. It does not demand results with desperation, for desperation betrays disbelief. Authority rests in certainty, knowing the word once spoken is already fulfilled in the unseen. The subconscious is the gateway through which the unseen becomes visible, and authority is the key that unlocks it. Without authority, words fall away like seeds cast on barren ground. With authority, words sink deep and grow strong, shaping reality with precision. This is why so many fail to manifest what they desire. They speak words of hope rather than words of command. Hope lacks the vibration of authority, for it suggests uncertainty. Faith speaks with authority, for it knows. The subconscious responds to knowing, not to wishing. Life itself becomes a reflection of the authority with which one speaks. Those who carry doubt in their tone experience conditions of instability, for the subconscious mirrors their uncertainty. Those who carry faith in their tone experience conditions of strength and abundance, for the subconscious mirrors their conviction. Authority shapes every area of life: health, wealth, relationships, and opportunities, because the subconscious governs them all, drawing from the unseen to build the seen. To speak with authority is to take hold of this power and direct it consciously. The subconscious is like an obedient builder. It does not question the blueprint, it only builds. The blueprint is the word spoken with authority. If the blueprint says scarcity, it builds scarcity. If the blueprint says abundance, it builds abundance. The builder does not argue, nor does it pause to ask if the plan is wise. It simply follows. The conscious mind, through speech, hands the plan to the builder. Authority ensures that the plan is taken seriously, while doubt makes the plan weak and unstable. The result is always a perfect reflection of the command given. To cultivate authority, one must train the conscious mind to speak deliberately. This means refusing to utter words of fear or limitation, even in jest, for the subconscious does not recognize humor or exaggeration. It only recognizes vibration. It means choosing words of truth and speaking them as facts already established. It means holding the inner state of certainty, so that every word carries weight. The more one practices speaking with authority, the more natural it becomes, and the more quickly the subconscious responds. The subconscious obeys the tone of authority because authority signals alignment with divine law. The universe itself is orderly, exact, and abundant. When one speaks with authority, they align with this order, and the subconscious rushes to match that vibration in the outer world. When one speaks with doubt, they signal misalignment, and the subconscious reflects disorder, delay, and struggle. The tone of authority is therefore not an affectation, but a reflection of inner faith. It cannot be faked, for the subconscious hears beyond words and detects the true vibration beneath them. The one who understands that the subconscious obeys authority speaks sparingly but powerfully. They do not waste words, nor do they scatter their energy with idle talk. They speak only what they desire to see, and they speak at once with certainty. Their words are law to the subconscious, and their life reflects the authority with which they speak. Life is a game of consciousness, a game in which the invisible laws of mind create the visible substance of experience. Every soul stands at the doorway of divine supply, waiting only for recognition, for faith, for the spoken word that opens the floodgates. The title before us, "Someone Will You Send 100 in Millions 5 Minutes Lift," is not mere chance arrangement of phrases, but a code of spirit, a vibration, a message hidden within paradox. It speaks of instantaneous increase, sudden elevation, and the swift descent of abundance, when thought and word align with infinite intelligence. When we hear of millions appearing in minutes, the rational mind protests, the cautious mind denies, the fearful mind shrinks. Yet the spiritual law is not bound by time, by arithmetic, or by the heavy reasonings of the intellect. Spirit works in sudden ways, with precision, with swiftness, with what appears miraculous to the senses but is natural to the unseen laws. The very idea of 110 millions descending like a lift in 5 minutes is not a promise of figures alone, but a symbol of divine acceleration, proof that what we call delay is but a shadow of our own doubt. To be lifted is to be carried upward, out of the valley of struggle and into the high places of realization. Many live in the basement of thought, where lack, fear, and limitation dwell. Yet there is always an elevator at hand, always the invisible lift waiting to carry us upward at the press of a button. That button is the spoken word, the command of faith, the unwavering declaration that what belongs to me by divine right cannot be withheld. The moment one presses this inner button, the 5 minutes are set into motion, not measured in seconds, but in consciousness. The lift begins to rise, and the wealth of the universe begins its descent into form. We are told, ask, believing you have received, and it shall be given unto you. That is the 5-minute mystery, the swift transaction of heaven's economy. Someone, somewhere, is always the instrument through which divine supply flows. The someone in the title is not a person to be begged, but the willing channel of spirit, prepared and appointed by divine order. Spirit needs no coercion, no pleading, only the command of faith spoken with joy. At the appointed moment, the lift descends, the treasure is delivered, and the miracle is complete. The number 110 millions may appear vast, yet Spirit makes no distinction between pennies and empires. To infinite mind, a seed and a fortune are equal, both created with the same effortless breath. What matters is not the sum, but the consciousness that calls it forth. 5 minutes is but the symbol of immediacy of the eternal now. All supply lies waiting in the invisible, and when the inner word is spoken, delay vanishes like mist at sunrise. This title, then, is a parable. It is the promise that supply is never far, never slow, never uncertain. It is already here, waiting for the recognition that says, I am lifted, I am supplied, I am aligned with the law of abundance. Divine supply is instantaneous, and the moment one truly grasps this truth, life begins to unfold in ways that the reasoning mind calls impossible. Yet the spiritual law recognizes as inevitable. The world is accustomed to the slow march of effort, to the weary climb of accumulation, to the grinding belief that all things must be earned through toil, anxiety, and time. But in the invisible realm of spirit, supply is never delayed. It does not travel, it does not wait in line, it does not arrive by chance. It is already present, whole, perfect, complete, and awaiting only recognition. The appearance of time is an illusion that human thought weaves to justify its doubts and its fears. The instant the word of faith is spoken, the instant belief replaces hesitation, the instant vision becomes clear, supply is released, and it descends like lightning, swift, exact, and unstoppable. The world operates by contracts, by procedures, by slow-moving wheels of transaction. The soul who knows the law of supply, however, knows that these outer appearances are merely shadows. They are not the cause, they are the effect. The true cause lies within thought, within the spoken word charged with faith. When the consciousness is aligned with divine truth, there is no waiting, no process, no journey. It happens in the eternal now. To spirit, there is no yesterday, no tomorrow, no passage of hours. The divine knows only the immediate presence of good, the fullness of abundance, the overflowing cup that never ceases. Supply, therefore, does not come to us, it is revealed to us. The moment the veil of doubt lifts, the moment the fog of fear clears, the abundance already present is seen, felt and received. To the doubter this seems fanciful. They say, but I have waited years. I have prayed, I have begged, and still nothing comes. Yet begging is not commanding, and hoping is not knowing. Spirit answers not the wavering heart, but the words spoken with authority. The law of supply is exact. Just as water poured into a channel rushes forth the instant the way is opened, so too does divine abundance flow instantly when the channel of consciousness is cleared. It requires no accumulation, no delay, no preparation in the outer world. It flows at once because it was always present. A seed germinates not because the earth suddenly decides to create it, but because the life within was already encoded, waiting for its moment of expression. So too is supply encoded in every soul's divine design, waiting only for the instant when recognition unlocks its storehouse. Consider the symbol of light. The room is dark, heavy with shadows. One need not plead for the sun, one need not wait for the candle to crawl into existence. The simple act of pressing the switch, the act of releasing energy into the circuit, banishes darkness in an instant. So it is with supply. The darkness of lack is not reality, but an absence of recognition. The instant one presses the switch of faith, the instant the declaration is made, supply floods in, and the shadows dissolve. There is no waiting for the light to crawl across the room. It is there the very moment the command is given. When the soul grasps that divine supply is instantaneous, fear loses its power. There is no longer a trembling at the thought of tomorrow, no longer an anxious saving for some distant rescue, no longer a belief in the long delay of good. Instead, there is confidence in the eternal now. This confidence does not lead to carelessness, but to trust. It does not create passivity, but a boldness of spirit, a courage to declare, to act, to step forward without hesitation. One who knows supply is immediate does not stagger when appearances contradict, for appearances are only the smoke of disbelief. Behind the smoke stands the mountain of truth, solid, unmoving, ever present, waiting for the eyes of faith to perceive it. The mind of man is conditioned to believe in preparation, in effort, in the long climb. The spirit within knows only completion. When we align with spirit, we do not climb the mountain step by step, gasping and weary. We are lifted instantly to its summit. This lifting does not come by force or by striving, but by surrender to the law that already is. The law does not ask us to build supply, it asks us to accept it. It does not ask us to chase abundance. It asks us to recognize abundance as our rightful state. The moment recognition is pure, the manifestation appears, and it appears now. There are countless testimonies of sudden provision, of fortunes appearing overnight, of healings that occur in a breath, of transformations that seem impossible by human reason. These are not accidents, not exceptions, but glimpses of the law in action. What is called a miracle is merely the natural law of spirit breaking through the crust of human disbelief. And the miracle always happens in an instant. The waiting, the delay, the slow unfolding, all belong to the mind of man. Spirit knows nothing of them. The moment faith is absolute, the moment word is spoken with certainty, the miracle manifests at once. To live in the consciousness of instantaneous supply is to live free of strain. It is to awaken each day knowing that all that is needed is already at hand, whether it appears visible or not. It is to walk through the world with calm assurance, never grasping, never begging, never fearing, but resting in the certainty that whatever is required, be it wealth, opportunity, wisdom, or health, is released the very moment it is recognized. The very act of recognition, the very act of claiming, is the key that unlocks the invisible vault. And just as a key does not slowly push the door open, but turns at once and releases the lock, so too does faith release supply in a single movement. This is the divine rhythm, immediate, precise, unfailing. The rhythm is not measured by clocks but by consciousness. To those who linger in doubt, the manifestation seems slow. To those who command with faith, it is instant. Time collapses, distance dissolves, and what seemed far away is suddenly here. In this eternal now, there is no waiting for good. There is only the opening of eyes to see what has always been standing before us, radiant, abundant, overflowing, waiting for the word to give it form. The lift of consciousness is the secret doorway through which all abundance enters, and until one steps inside and presses the upward button of faith, life remains confined to the lower floors of struggle, limitation, and fear. Just as a great building has many levels, so does the human mind. On the basement level, thoughts are dark and heavy, filled with doubts, debts, worries, and the ceaseless repetition of lack. One who remains there sees only walls and shadows, unaware that above are wide windows, fresh air, and sunlit rooms. The only difference between the basement and the penthouse is consciousness, and the only vehicle of passage is the lift. That lift is the spoken word infused with belief. Every thought we think is a step into that elevator. Every word we speak is the pressing of a button that determines whether we ascend or remain where we are. Some keep pressing the button marked fear, and so the lift never moves. Others hesitate, pressing faith one moment and doubt the next, causing the journey to halt between floors. Yet the law is simple: the lift obeys the button pressed with conviction. When faith is absolute, when the word is spoken without hesitation, the lift moves, swift and unerring, carrying the soul upward into realms of greater supply and wider vision. The spoken word is the most powerful tool given to man, for it is the bridge between thought and manifestation. Thoughts may flicker, shift, and dissolve, but words carry the vibration into form. When one declares, "I am lifted into abundance," the universe responds, not in some distant future, but at once. The declaration creates movement, a shifting of energy, an alignment with higher levels of consciousness where supply is natural and effortless. Words of lack hold us to the basement, but words of faith rise like currents, carrying us to the higher floors where treasures await. Many ask why their prayers seem unanswered, why their affirmations bear no fruit, why they ride the lift yet never reach the top. The answer lies in divided consciousness. If one speaks words of faith but harbors secret fears, the lift is stalled between floors. If one affirms abundance in the morning but laments poverty at night, the journey is interrupted. The lift of consciousness requires consistency. It requires a steady pressing of the button, a refusal to look back at the basement, a calm assurance that upward movement is inevitable. The very act of staying in faith, even when appearances deny it, is what powers the ascent. Consider how swiftly an elevator rises once it is set in motion. It does not struggle, it does not climb hand over hand. It is carried by a power greater than itself. So it is with consciousness. We are not meant to struggle upward by effort alone, but to be lifted by the invisible law once we choose alignment. The lift does not ask the passenger to explain mechanics or to generate the force. It requires only trust. Step inside, press the button, and allow the power to do the work. The same is true of the spoken word. We are not asked to strain, to figure out how the supply will arrive, or to calculate the steps. We are asked only to speak in faith, to declare the truth, and to rest in the certainty that the law will fulfill itself. The basement of thought is familiar to many, yet it holds no real treasures. It is filled with complaints, comparisons, and the constant whisper of insufficiency. One who lives there may believe the higher floors are unreachable, or may imagine the lift is broken. Yet the lift is never broken. It waits patiently for the command. The moment the command is given, the doors close on the old view, and the ascent begins. What was unseen becomes visible, what was impossible becomes natural, and what seemed far away becomes immediate. The entire shift is not in the outer world, but in the inner level at which one dwells. This upward movement is not only about material supply, but about clarity, peace, and vision. On the lower floors, windows are small, and one sees only narrow streets. But on the higher levels, the view expands. Problems that seemed enormous are now tiny, for perspective has changed. The higher the lift carries the consciousness, the smaller difficulties appear, and the more obvious solutions become. Abundance is not only wealth of money but wealth of perception, wealth of wisdom, wealth of courage. When lifted into higher consciousness, one sees opportunities where once there seemed only obstacles, and sees doors where once there appeared only walls. The power of the spoken word cannot be overemphasized. Words create images in the mind, and images become experiences in the world. To say, "I am rich," while feeling poor is to press two buttons at once, and the lift hesitates. To speak with joy, conviction, and repetition is to press the same button firmly until the law responds with precision. The universe does not ignore a consistent declaration. The energy of faith builds momentum, and the lift rises until the new floor is reached. The shift may seem sudden, but it is the natural effect of persistent alignment. One need not strain to lift consciousness. Strain is effort born of doubt. The lift works silently, invisibly, carrying the soul upward without struggle. Faith is not labor, it is surrender to law. When the word is spoken, when the button is pressed, the power flows without obstruction. The lift does not consult appearances, nor is it hindered by the weight of fear once the command is clear. It simply carries out the order. So too does spirit fulfill the word spoken in certainty. There is beauty in the metaphor of ascent, for it reveals that we are never stuck, never imprisoned on one level. At any moment, the lift is available. At any moment, we may choose to rise. Circumstances may press heavily on the basement floor, but they do not control the button of consciousness. Only the individual does. The instant one chooses differently, the instant one affirms a higher truth, the ascent begins. The lift cares nothing for the years spent in the basement, it responds only to the present command. Thus, the lift of consciousness is not fantasy but law. It operates with the same certainty as gravity or light. The spoken word is the key. Faith is the button, and the law of spirit is the power that raises us without delay. Every soul holds this power, though many forget it, and many misuse it by speaking words of fear. Yet the law is impartial. It will lift as quickly with, "I am abundant," as it will with, "I am poor," for it honors the button pressed. The choice, therefore, lies not in whether the lift exists, but in whether we dare to use it rightly, consistently, and with unwavering conviction. The symbol of the 110 millions is not to be taken as a mere number, nor as the promise of one specific sum, but as the emblem of limitless increase. The figure chosen by Spirit to reveal that abundance is without measure. Numbers in the language of Spirit are not cold arithmetic, but carriers of vibration. They whisper meanings. They point to truths hidden beneath the surface. The figure of 110 million is extravagant, beyond the ordinary grasp of human planning, and in that very extravagance lies the message. It is Spirit saying, "I do not deal in rations, I do not measure in small coins. My supply is vast, overflowing, inconceivable to the calculating mind." The human tendency is to pray for just enough, to seek a little more, to fear excess as though it were dangerous. But divine law knows no smallness, and when it gives in floods. To dwell on the symbol of the 110 millions is to train the mind away from limitation. It is to remind the consciousness that the universe does not count in dribbles, it counts in oceans. The number shocks the rational thought. And that shock is useful, for it shakes loose the habitual belief that one must creep forward in inches. Spirit reveals through such symbols that the increase available is immeasurable, that the soul must expand its vision to receive. If one asks only for bread, the answer comes as a banquet. If one asks only for pennies, the answer comes as millions. Not because the millions themselves are the goal, but because the supply is always greater than the demand when the demand is made in faith. The mind that focuses on money alone misses the essence. The millions are not paper, not figures in an account, but representations of overflowing good. They may manifest as wealth, but they may also appear as opportunities beyond price, as connections, as ideas, as health, as joy. The number is a symbol, a pointer, reminding us that divine increase is not bound by form. The 110 millions could arrive as a contract, as a gift, as land, as unexpected provision. Or it may arrive as a shift so complete that one's need for money itself is transformed. The symbol does not bind spirit. It declares spirit's nature. That nature is generosity, overflow, the endless river that pours forth because it cannot do otherwise. Why then is the symbol so specific, so great? Because specificity awakens belief. The vague prayer, the timid hope, drifts unanswered because it carries no conviction. But when one contemplates a vast figure, something within stretches, something awakens. The soul begins to ask, if such a thing is possible, what else may be possible? The symbol of millions is therefore not meant to bind the imagination, but to free it. It reminds us that nothing is too large, nothing too extravagant, for spirit. If the mind can conceive it, spirit can produce it. And often spirit produces more, for it delights in surpassing the boundaries of thought. To see 110 millions is to be reminded of the overflowing nature of life itself. A tree does not produce one leaf, but thousands. A flower does not drop one seed, but multitudes. A wave does not strike the shore once, but endlessly. All of creation testifies to abundance. And the number merely puts into human terms what nature displays in silence. The symbol says, look around you, notice the excess that surrounds you. Notice how the sun pours light without charge, how the earth pours fruit without measure, how the air pours breath without limit. If nature is extravagant in every detail, how could the divine source behind it all be anything less than infinite? Many fear large numbers. They shrink back, thinking them too vast, too dangerous, too beyond their deserving. Yet this shrinking is the very barrier to receiving. Spirit withholds nothing, it is the narrow vessel of consciousness that limits the inflow. When one dares to contemplate millions with calm acceptance, the vessel enlarges. The mind begins to expect greater things, the heart begins to open wider, and the channels of life respond. The number is not greed, it is growth. It stretches the imagination to the scale of Spirit's generosity. It is also a reminder that to Spirit, a penny and a million are the same. Both are created with equal ease, both are delivered without effort. The difficulty lies not in the giving but in the believing. To infinite intelligence, there is no difference in supplying one seed or one forest, one coin or one fortune. The law does not struggle with size, only with doubt. When the consciousness says, "It is as easy for me to receive a fortune as to receive a coin," then the channels are widened, and the greater supply flows freely. The symbol of millions is a training ground for faith, for it compels the soul to let go of the belief in difficulty. There is also rhythm in the figure itself. 110 suggests strength, foundation, and multiplication. It carries the vibration of wholeness and increase. The millions that follow amplify this rhythm, making it vast, making it overflowing. Spirit often speaks in symbols that are not fully understood by the intellect, but felt by the heart. The number therefore may stir something beyond reasoning, a sense of greatness, a call to expansion. That stirring is the true gift, for it awakens the soul to claim more of what has always been waiting. To meditate on the 110 millions is to see beyond figures and into principle. It is to know that divine law is inexhaustible, that the treasures of Spirit cannot be counted. The number is a pointer to the limitless reservoir. It is as though Spirit says, "Even if you imagine this vast sum, I could give it without effort, and still there would be more. Still the storehouse would remain full, still the river would flow." The symbol teaches us that we need never fear depletion. No matter how great the vision, Spirit remains greater still. No matter how large the dream, the source remains infinite. When the consciousness embraces this symbol, fear of insufficiency dissolves. One ceases to ask, "Will there be enough?" and instead declares, "There is more than enough." That declaration, spoken in faith, is what transforms experience. The soul begins to expect excess, to welcome overflow, to prepare for more than it asked. And in that preparation the law responds, for it always matches belief. The 110 millions is therefore less about the sum itself and more about the consciousness it awakens. The consciousness of boundless supply. The mind that dwells in limitation cannot grasp this at once, but repetition softens resistance. To hold the image, to speak the affirmation, to imagine the vastness without fear, is to build the inner capacity to receive. Slowly the fear of greatness dissolves, and the natural state of abundance is restored. Then the figure no longer shocks, but feels normal, feels right, feels inevitable. That is when the symbol has fulfilled its purpose. It has trained the consciousness to rise above smallness, to align with the measureless generosity of Spirit, to see beyond the coin into the infinite river that never ceases to pour forth. The someone in the message is not a stranger to be chased, not a benefactor to be begged, not a figure of chance, but the chosen channel through which Spirit moves its treasures. Spirit always works through instruments, through people, through circumstances, yet those instruments are never the source. The source is always the invisible law of supply, and the channels are countless. To fix the gaze on one person and demand they deliver is to mistake the channel for the fountain. The fountain of abundance is eternal, inexhaustible, and it chooses its channels with perfect precision. The someone may be near or far, known or unknown, expected or unexpected. The law does not require the receiver to identify the channel. The law requires only that the receiver be open, receptive, and ready to accept supply from wherever Spirit appoints it to flow. In every story of sudden provision, there is always a someone. A letter arrives, a call is made, a friend remembers, a stranger appears, a door opens. Yet behind each of these someones is the invisible orchestration of Spirit. The person may believe it was their choice, their decision, their generosity. But in truth they were the vessel through which divine order expressed itself. To look only at the vessel is to forget the ocean that fills it. The wise soul recognizes the someone as a symbol, a reminder that Spirit never works in isolation, but always through appointed means. This truth removes fear and striving. Many worry, who will help me? Who will provide? Who will support? Such questions bind the mind to a narrow search, looking only in familiar directions. But the law has no such limits. The someone may be one never considered, may be an avenue never imagined, may be an opportunity so far beyond the expected that it feels miraculous. When one trusts the law, there is no need to select the channel, no need to identify the person. The focus is not on who, but on the certainty that Spirit is moving, that the right someone is already appointed, already on the way, already carrying out their part in divine timing. The symbol of someone is also a lesson in release. It teaches that the receiver must let go of control, must surrender the tendency to dictate the manner of fulfillment. Too often, prayers are limited by rigid expectations. The mind insists the provision must come from this person, through this method, in this sequence. But Spirit does not work by human rules. Spirit works by harmony, by the perfect weaving of countless threads into one tapestry. To trust the someone is to allow the channel to be chosen by wisdom greater than our own. It is to say, I am open to receive, and I care not through whom it comes, for I know the source is eternal and unfailing. Someone is not necessarily a single person. It may be many acting in harmony, it may be an organization, it may be an event. Spirit arranges these channels with flawless timing. The lift descends, the door opens, and suddenly the right person appears, the right word is spoken, the right connection is made. Human reasoning might call it coincidence, but the awakened soul sees it as divine order unfolding. Every someone who enters the path at the appointed moment is an answer to faith, a confirmation that the law never fails. There is also a deeper teaching hidden in the symbol of someone. At times, the appointed someone is not another, but the self. The divine within rises as the channel, the source of wisdom, the spark of inspiration, the sudden idea that transforms everything. Many wait for external figures, forgetting that Spirit often uses the very individual who prays as the vessel of fulfillment. The someone may be your own higher self, speaking through intuition, guiding to an action, revealing a solution. Thus the law works both inwardly and outwardly, through others and through the self, always weaving them together in harmony. When the consciousness understands this truth, there is no need for desperation. Desperation arises when one believes there are few channels, when one clings to a single person or source. But faith expands vision, reminding the soul that channels are infinite. There are as many someones as there are stars, as many possibilities as there are grains of sand. If one door closes, another opens, for Spirit is never limited. The supply is eternal, and it will find its path no matter how many obstacles appear. The someone cannot miss their appointment, for divine order is exact. The teaching also reveals the importance of readiness. Spirit may appoint the channel, but the receiver must be prepared to accept. Too often, the someone appears, but fear or pride rejects the gift. The channel is dismissed because it does not match the expected form. The lesson is clear. Remain open, remain humble, remain willing to receive in whatever way Spirit chooses. The someone may come disguised, may come in ways that seem small or strange, yet within that form lies the appointed blessing. Those who are receptive recognize it and receive fully. Those who cling to pride or narrow vision let it pass by. The idea of someone also releases us from isolation. It reminds us that we are part of a vast web of connection, that no good comes in isolation but always in relationship. The law moves through people, through circumstances, through interactions. Even the wealth that appears in a solitary account is connected to countless others. The workers, the thinkers, the traders, the givers. The someone is a thread in the larger fabric of divine harmony. To honor that thread is to honor Spirit itself. Faith in the someone also dissolves resentment. Often, the mind grows bitter, expecting one particular person to deliver, and when they do not, anger arises. But when we understand that no single person is the source, resentment vanishes. That one may not have been the appointed channel. The true someone is already chosen, already on the way. Thus there is no need to cling, no need to demand, no need to force. Release others from the role of provider and see them only as fellow travelers. Trust Spirit to appoint the right vessel at the right moment, and peace returns. The symbol is liberating. It frees us from dependence on personalities and places dependence where it belongs, on the eternal law. The someone is always provided. The channel always appears. The lift always arrives at the appointed floor. What is required of us is not control but readiness, not fear but trust, not clinging but release. In this trust, the heart rests secure, knowing that the right someone is already chosen, and the flow of supply is already in motion. The eternal 5 minutes is not a measure of time as clocks would count it, not a literal span of minutes ticking by, but a symbol of immediacy, the revelation that all manifestation is born in the now. To Spirit there is no past and no future. There is only the eternal present, the timeless moment where every possibility already exists in completeness. The human mind measures by hours, by days, by years, and in so doing binds itself to delay. It says, it will take time, it will require waiting, it will arrive later. Yet Spirit does not dwell in later. Spirit dwells in now. The 5 minutes is a parable, a figure chosen to shock the mind into seeing that what is sought need not be distant, that what is asked for can descend at once, that the so-called waiting is only the shadow cast by disbelief. When one speaks the word of faith, it is not a seed buried to wait out seasons, it is a command that draws the unseen into form. The law of Spirit responds instantly. The delay appears only in consciousness, in the resistance of the mind, in the veil of doubt. But the instant faith is pure, the instant word is spoken with authority, manifestation is immediate. This is the eternal 5 minutes, the moment between recognition and reception, which in truth is no time at all. It is the sudden shift, the lift that rises, the curtain that parts, the treasure that is revealed. To the human perspective it may seem rapid, as though only 5 minutes have passed, yet to Spirit it is timeless, for Spirit acts only in the now. The eternal 5 minutes dissolves fear of waiting. Many postpone their joy, saying, when I have more, I will be happy. When circumstances change, I will be free. They place abundance always in the future, always out of reach. Yet the law teaches otherwise. Joy is now, freedom is now. Abundance is now. The moment one claims it, the moment one declares it, the moment one shifts consciousness, it is present. The 5 minutes symbolizes the swiftness of this shift, but the deeper truth is that there is no interval at all. What is called delay is only the time taken for the mind to accept. Once accepted, supply is already here. Consider the image of a veil drawn across a window. The sun shines outside, full and radiant, yet the room remains dim. One may sit in the shadows believing the light has not come, believing it will take time to arrive. But the light was never absent. It waits only for the veil to be drawn aside. That act of drawing aside is instantaneous. The moment it is done, the light floods in. That is the eternal 5 minutes. It is not the coming of the sun but the recognition of what already is. The light was there, the supply was there. The abundance was there, waiting only for consciousness to remove the barrier. The eternal 5 minutes also reveals that divine supply is not earned by the passage of time. Effort, toil, delay, these belong to the human belief that value must be measured by struggle. Spirit makes no such bargain. Spirit gives freely, fully, instantly. To believe that abundance requires long labor is to bind oneself to the basement of thought. To understand that it requires only recognition is to enter the lift. The 5 minutes is a reminder that what seems long and heavy can be light and swift. A fortune can arrive in a moment, a healing can occur in a breath, a transformation can unfold in the twinkling of an eye. This truth does not deny the appearance of process in the outer world. The harvest does appear to grow across seasons. The building does appear to rise over months. The journey does appear to unfold across miles. Yet beneath those appearances, the supply is already complete. The seed contains the full harvest, the blueprint contains the full building. The path contains the full destination. The eternal 5 minutes reveals that what we call process is merely the unfolding of what already exists. Faith collapses the sense of delay, bringing the end into the present. One who believes sees the harvest while planting, lives in the building while sketching, rejoices at the destination while still walking. The eternal 5 minutes is also a discipline of thought. It demands that one stop postponing. It asks, why wait to feel abundant? Why wait to believe in wealth? Why wait to affirm supply? The soul is invited to declare now, to rejoice now, to live as though the manifestation were already present. This is not pretense, for Spirit has already given. It is recognition. To live in the eternal 5 minutes is to speak and act as though the desired good is already here, because in truth it is. That consciousness draws it swiftly into visible form. Many live in the illusion of tomorrow. They say, tomorrow I will prosper. Tomorrow I will succeed. Tomorrow I will rest. Yet tomorrow never arrives, for it is always postponed. The eternal 5 minutes breaks this illusion. It declares, now is the appointed time. Now is the moment of supply. Now is the day of abundance. To embrace this truth is to step into alignment with Spirit, to collapse the distance between desire and fulfillment, to see that they are one and the same. The symbol of 5 minutes is gentle, for it eases the mind into acceptance. The human mind may resist the idea of absolute immediacy, but it can grasp the nearness of 5 minutes. It can accept that a change may come suddenly, swiftly, without long delay. The figure acts as a bridge between the infinite now of Spirit and the linear thinking of man. It says, if you cannot yet believe in instant, believe in soon. If you cannot yet accept now, accept within minutes. And in that acceptance, the miracle manifests often faster than imagined. The eternal 5 minutes is also the moment of readiness. Spirit does not measure time but readiness of consciousness. When the inner word is clear, when faith is strong, when doubt has dissolved, the supply manifests immediately. The 5 minutes symbolizes that moment of readiness, the inner alignment that tips the balance and brings forth the visible. One may wait years in doubt, but the shift comes in a flash, and the years vanish as though they never were. The blessing descends in the appointed moment, and it is always the now. This teaching frees the soul from anxiety about how long things will take. It no longer matters whether the outer world says it will take months or years. Spirit requires no such time. The supply exists already in completeness, and the 5 minutes symbolizes how swiftly it can appear once consciousness is aligned. The lift does not crawl slowly up the shaft. It moves swiftly once the button is pressed. So too does abundance manifest swiftly once the command is given in faith. The eternal 5 minutes, therefore, is not about minutes at all, but about consciousness. It is the space between asking and receiving, which in truth is no space at all. It is the reminder that supply is immediate, that abundance is already present. That time itself is but a veil the mind weaves. The moment one lives in the eternal now, the 5 minutes collapses into an instant, and the desired good is revealed in all its fullness. Water brings wealth. The river flows, the rain falls, the ocean tides move, and in their rhythm lies the secret of prosperity. Water is the universal carrier of abundance, the invisible hand that nourishes fields, fills granaries, and quickens the life of nations. When water flows freely, there is fruitfulness, there is growth, there is wealth. When it is blocked, stagnation appears, and life becomes parched. The same law applies to the spirit, for man's life is also a stream, meant to circulate, to give, to receive, to flow without fear or resistance. Water teaches us that supply is endless. A drop may appear small, yet it is connected to the vastness of oceans. So too is every coin, every opportunity, every blessing. It is a drop connected to the infinite sea of abundance. The mistake of man is to see the drop and forget the ocean. He clutches the small and fears loss, yet the law of water declares as it flows out, more flows in. The spring that gives never runs dry, for its source is eternal. Wealth does not come by hoarding, but by circulation, just as rivers keep their purity by movement, not by standing still. Observe the farmer who trusts the rain. He scatters his seed in the dark earth, knowing water will awaken it. He does not dig it up in doubt, nor cry out in fear of drought, but lives in faith that the law of growth cannot fail. So it is with wealth. One must give with confidence, sell with certainty, and know that life returns multiplied. To withhold is to dry the ground of one's own harvest. To release is to invite the river of increase. Water also teaches the lesson of adaptability. It takes the form of the vessel it enters, whether a cup, a jar, or a mighty lake, yet it loses none of its essence. Wealth, too, is not limited to coins or notes. It may appear as ideas, opportunities, health, friendships, or doors opening at the right hour. When one insists it must come in only one form, one limits the stream. But when one allows it to take its own way, wealth appears in unexpected channels, as sure as rain finds its path to the sea. There is also cleansing in water. A rushing stream washes away the old leaves, the broken branches, the dust of yesterday. Prosperity comes when the channels of thought are cleared of fear, resentment, and doubt. Just as muddy water settles when undisturbed, so a mind at peace reflects the clear truth of supply. When the mind flows with gratitude, forgiveness, and expectancy, wealth rushes in as naturally as rivers to the ocean. Thus, water is the emblem of wealth itself, flowing, abundant, adaptable, purifying, and unending. To align with it is to step into the law of circulation, where giving and receiving are one, and the tide of prosperity never fails. Water symbolizes endless circulation of abundance. To understand this truth, one must look at the way water moves through the world, never ceasing, never clinging, always flowing from one form into another, and yet never diminished. It evaporates from the sea, rises into the clouds, falls as rain, seeps into the soil, springs up as fountains, gathers in rivers, returns to the ocean, and begins again. This cycle is unbroken, eternal, and generous, offering life to every living thing. The lesson is clear: abundance is not a possession to be grasped, but a flow to be entered. The moment one sees water as a mirror of wealth, the mind awakens to a higher law, the law that says supply cannot end. For it circulates in perfect rhythm, carrying prosperity wherever it moves. When one watches a river, one sees that it never worries whether there will be more water tomorrow. It simply flows, confident that the source is unceasing. In this same way, life asks us to trust that there is always more wealth, more opportunity, more good, ready to flow into our lives if we do not obstruct the channel. The human error is in believing that abundance is limited, that once spent it may not return. This belief dries the river of prosperity, for thought is the channel through which abundance flows. To think shortage is to dam the stream, but to think circulation is to invite the endless current of increase. Water teaches the fearless truth that there is no end to supply, for the source is infinite and eternal. Consider the ocean, vast, immeasurable, teeming with life. Every river gives itself to the ocean, and yet the ocean is never full. Every wave that crashes on the shore is instantly replaced by another, and another, and another. So it is with wealth. Each gift, each act of generosity, each expenditure, when aligned with trust, returns multiplied. Because the source is not the coin or the hand that gives it, but the infinite reservoir behind it all. Just as the tide rises without effort, so abundance rises when one aligns with the truth of circulation. The wealth of the ocean is not hoarded but expressed, for it sends forth clouds to bring rain, which fills rivers, which return again. Thus, wealth moves in a circle, not a straight line. A stagnant pond, cut off from flow, becomes murky and lifeless, breeding decay. Yet a stream that flows freely sparkles with clarity and sustains multitudes. This too is the law of prosperity. When one clutches tightly, fearing to lose, wealth grows stale, opportunities dry up, and joy is replaced with burden. But when one allows giving and receiving to move in balance, life stays fresh, creative, and fruitful. Water never asks, "What if I give too much of myself?" It pours down from the clouds, it rushes across valleys, it seeps into roots, and still it is renewed. So also must man trust that in giving, he does not empty himself, but connects more deeply to the unending flow of abundance. Every culture has known the sacredness of water. Ancient temples placed fountains at their gates to symbolize cleansing and renewal. For they knew water carried more than refreshment. It carried the symbol of eternal supply. Farmers prayed for rain not only for their crops, but as a sign of divine favor, a reminder that the heavens were still open, that abundance was still flowing. Traders and merchants built their cities on rivers, knowing that flowing water meant flowing wealth. The pattern repeats across all ages and lands. Where water flows, prosperity blooms. This is not coincidence but law. For water is the visible expression of circulation, and circulation is the heartbeat of abundance. One may look also at the smallest drop and still find the lesson. A single raindrop falls into a puddle and creates ripples that expand outward without end. So it is with wealth. One act of generosity, however small, expands far beyond what the eye can see. It touches lives, creates opportunities, awakens gratitude, and returns multiplied. The one who sees this truth does not measure their giving by its size but by its flow. For a drop is not less significant than a river when connected to the source. The drop is proof that the ocean is near, just as the coin in one's hand is proof of infinite supply waiting to be released. The endless circulation of water also shows that abundance does not belong to one alone but to all. Rain falls on fields without choosing one over another. Rivers pass through nations without concern for boundaries drawn by men. The tide belongs not to one shore but to the entire earth. Likewise, wealth is not the possession of a few but the inheritance of all. For it flows through channels seen and unseen, touching each life in its own way. To claim monopoly over it is to resist its nature, but to recognize its universality is to align oneself with its true movement. In sharing, one enters the flow; in hoarding, one steps out of it. There is also the truth that water follows the path of least resistance. It does not argue with stone or mountain, but finds the way around, under, or through. In the same manner, wealth seeks the open channel. When the mind is filled with fear, doubt, and resistance, wealth cannot enter, for the channel is blocked. But when the mind is clear, trusting, and expectant, wealth flows as naturally as water down a slope. The law is effortless. Open the way, and the stream will find you. No forcing is needed, no struggle required. Abundance is not made but allowed, for it is already flowing, already moving, already seeking its outlet. To meditate on water is to meditate on wealth. Its endless circulation whispers the secret that life is not about accumulation but flow, not about holding but releasing, not about scarcity but endless supply. The rain that falls today has fallen for centuries past and will fall for centuries to come, nourishing countless generations. So it is with abundance. What sustains one will sustain another, for the source never runs dry. The one who understands this truth does not fear loss, for he knows there is always more, just as the river knows it will always be fed by the rain, and the rain knows it will always return from the sea. Wealth flows through giving, not hoarding. The very nature of abundance is movement, and when that movement is embraced, prosperity multiplies. When wealth is clutched tightly, when the hand is closed in fear of loss, circulation halts, and what was once living becomes stagnant. To give is to keep the channel open, to let the current of supply flow freely, knowing that in releasing one is not emptying but making space for greater increase. The one who understands this principle no longer fears generosity, for he knows that wealth, like water, must be poured out in order to return. A tree gives fruit without hesitation. It does not question whether the branches will again be heavy with harvest. It yields freely, season after season, because the law of growth is certain. So too must one give of wealth, talent, kindness, and service, knowing that every act returns in multiplied form. The soil does not resent the seed planted within it. It receives, nourishes, and returns a harvest far greater than what was sown. When one gives with trust, the same law is fulfilled, for giving is not loss but multiplication. Hoarding, on the other hand, is born of fear. It whispers that there may not be enough tomorrow, so one must grasp tightly today. Yet this very act of holding interrupts the flow, just as damming a stream can dry the fields downstream. A hoarded coin grows cold, locked away from circulation, unable to do its work. But a coin released into the world becomes bread on a table, clothing on a child, wages for a worker, profit for a merchant, and eventually, it circles back, carrying with it unseen blessings. The wealth that is given expands, but the wealth that is hoarded diminishes. One can observe this in nature. The clouds give rain to the earth, and the earth returns vapor to the skies. This eternal exchange sustains all life. If the clouds withheld their rain, the earth would wither, crops would fail, and even the clouds themselves would eventually disperse into nothingness. Giving keeps the cycle alive. In the same way, when wealth is circulated through generosity, investment, and trust, the cycle of abundance is maintained. When it is withheld, both giver and receiver suffer, for the chain of prosperity is broken. A farmer does not keep every seed in his storehouse, fearing famine. He knows that by planting he is not losing, but ensuring future harvests. Each seed released becomes many. Likewise, the wealth that is shared, whether in material form or in acts of service, multiplies in return. The one who gives from a heart of trust stands in harmony with the law of circulation. The one who withholds out of fear isolates himself from the very source of increase. True wealth is never about possession alone, but about movement. A river that flows enriches everything along its banks: trees, animals, villages, cities. A river that is blocked creates floods in one place and drought in another. The movement of wealth is meant to bring balance, nourishing lives, creating opportunities, building communities. The giver becomes a channel through which the abundance of life expresses itself. To refuse to give is to step outside of alignment with this universal principle. Even in the smallest act of giving, the law is present. A kind word given in sincerity may open doors of friendship that lead to unexpected blessings. A meal shared with another may ripple into gratitude that returns in ways unseen. A gift of money, when given without fear, may return in the form of a new opportunity, a profitable idea, or support at the moment it is most needed. Giving sets forces in motion that extend beyond the act itself. Hoarding stops those forces and isolates one from the living flow of prosperity. The heart knows this truth instinctively. There is a natural joy in giving, a sense of expansion, a feeling that life has grown richer in the very act of release. That joy is the soul recognizing alignment with universal law. Fear resists it, whispering that giving diminishes, but truth declares the opposite: giving multiplies. The open hand is never empty for long, for it invites the flow of new supply. The closed fist may seem secure, but it holds only what it already has, and no more can enter. History itself shows that societies that embraced circulation flourished, while those that hoarded crumbled. Cities that traded, shared, and invested in their people grew into centers of prosperity. Those that feared loss, withholding resources and clinging to wealth, became brittle and fell. The law of giving is not limited to individuals, but applies to nations, communities, and generations. Prosperity grows where circulation thrives. To give is also an act of trust. It acknowledges that wealth does not come from the coin in hand, but from the source behind it. The farmer trusts the earth. The sailor trusts the wind. The giver trusts the law of abundance. In that trust, doors open that would otherwise remain shut. Opportunities appear, assistance arrives, and wealth takes forms beyond expectation. Hoarding, by contrast, is an act of distrust, a denial of the infinite nature of supply. It limits vision, closes doors, and creates the very scarcity it fears. There is also an unseen dimension to giving. The energy of generosity multiplies in ways the mind cannot track. A gift given in love carries with it a vibration that attracts further love. An offering made in faith carries a magnetic quality that draws opportunities into the giver's life. Circulation is not merely physical but spiritual, touching realms beyond what the eye can measure. Wealth flows not just through currency, but through ideas, connections, inspiration, and timing. Giving activates this unseen network of return. Water does not ask where it flows, nor demand assurance that it will return. It pours itself out, knowing the cycle is eternal. In this, it teaches the law of giving. Wealth must move. It must be shared, invested, released into circulation. To do so is to honor the truth that abundance was never meant to stagnate. Every act of giving is like casting bread upon the waters, certain that it will return in multiplied form, carried by currents unseen. The more freely one gives, the more freely one receives, for life itself delights in circulation, and wealth is its instrument. Adaptability invites unexpected prosperity. Life, like water, does not demand rigid conformity but rewards flexibility and openness. Water flows effortlessly around obstacles, finding its path even when rocks block the way, cliffs rise before it, or valleys twist its course. It does not resist, it adjusts. It does not fret over how the journey will unfold, it simply moves, and in doing so sustains life wherever it travels. Wealth, like water, comes most easily to those who can adapt to circumstances, who are willing to flow with change, and who trust that the channels of opportunity can take forms beyond expectation. Resistance limits movement, but adaptability opens doors, creates pathways, and allows blessings to appear in forms that the rigid mind could never anticipate. When one clings too tightly to a single idea of what wealth should look like, one closes off the avenues through which prosperity might flow. The coin in hand, the job title, the fixed plan, the rigid schedule, these may all serve as obstacles if held with attachment. Life, in its infinite intelligence, delivers abundance in ways that the narrow mind might initially overlook. A change in career, a new friendship, an unexpected investment, a sudden move. All can bring wealth in ways that obey the universal law of supply, yet bypass the rigid expectations of the ego. Flexibility allows one to recognize these channels and step into them, whereas rigidity blocks the flow. Consider the river once again. It does not collapse when a boulder falls in its path. Instead, it curves, bends, and flows around, under, or even over the obstruction. It adjusts without hesitation, without complaint, without doubt. The river's flexibility is what allows it to reach the sea. In the same manner, prosperity flows to those who can adapt their plans, shift their perspectives, and embrace change without fear. Wealth often arrives in forms that are not immediately recognizable. Only a mind trained in adaptability can perceive the hidden gifts, opportunities, and unexpected avenues that life presents. Adaptability also requires courage. To release a fixed idea of what is necessary or acceptable is to step into uncertainty. Many fear the unknown, preferring the comfort of routine or the illusion of control. Yet the law of abundance requires movement, not stagnation, and life rewards the bold who can bend without breaking. The person who clings to outdated strategies, insists on one way of achieving success, or resists innovation may find wealth elusive, for prosperity is dynamic, ever-changing, and often appears in forms that challenge preconceived notions. Flexibility is not compromise, it is alignment with the flow of life. In practical terms, adaptability can take many forms. It may mean learning new skills to meet changing demands, shifting investments in response to economic currents, or approaching problems with creative solutions rather than fixed routines. It may involve changing one's mindset about what constitutes success, recognizing that wealth is not confined to material possessions, but may appear as knowledge, health, influence, or relationships. Each time one adjusts to circumstances rather than resisting them, one opens the door for unexpected prosperity to enter. Resistance, by contrast, creates friction that slows or halts the flow. The principle extends beyond personal action into relationships and communities. Businesses that thrive are those that respond to market shifts, consumer preferences, and technological innovation. Communities that prosper adapt to changing environmental, social, and economic conditions. Inflexibility leads to decline, whereas responsiveness and adaptability bring opportunity and growth. The same law applies individually. Those who embrace change, who adjust their attitudes, behaviors, and strategies, attract resources, ideas, and partnerships that they could not have anticipated. Adaptability also fosters creativity, which is a hidden form of wealth. When one is open to change, new ideas arise naturally. One sees solutions that were previously invisible, discovers opportunities in challenges, and turns obstacles into stepping stones. Wealth is not only a function of what is already known or possessed, but also of the ability to perceive and act upon possibilities. The adaptive mind is like a fertile field ready to receive seeds from unexpected sources. Rigidity is like barren soil, closed off to the flow of inspiration. Even in financial matters, the principle is clear. Investments that are diversified, plans that include contingencies, and approaches that allow for adjustment are more likely to yield returns than rigid, single-minded strategies. Opportunities often appear when least expected. A sudden offer, a chance meeting, a pivot in the market, and only those prepared to adapt can take full advantage. To insist that wealth must come through one narrow channel is to block other avenues and limit the potential for abundance. Flexibility creates room for surprise, serendipity, and expansion. The spiritual dimension of adaptability is equally powerful. Life rewards the flexible heart that can let go of attachment, release judgment, and accept the unknown. Wealth is not always in the form of material gain. It can appear as peace, joy, insight, or relationships. By being adaptable in expectation and open to life's unfolding, one allows these non-material forms of abundance to flow as freely as money or possessions. Resistance, worry, or insistence on a fixed form limits the richness of experience, while adaptability allows all forms of wealth to manifest. Even adversity contains the seed of prosperity when met with flexibility. A sudden loss, a change in circumstances, or a challenge that seems insurmountable can redirect the flow of life toward new avenues. Like water navigating a rocky gorge, those who bend with circumstances discover hidden streams, fertile valleys, and new routes to abundance. Those who resist become trapped, their energy dissipated in fruitless struggle, while those who adapt harness the same situation to create opportunity, growth, and reward. The law of adaptability emphasizes that prosperity is not a fixed destination but a dynamic flow. The mind that is willing to pivot, the heart that can release rigid expectations, and the hand that can take new forms of action align with life's current. Just as water nourishes every valley, it touches without demanding the landscape change to suit it. Wealth flows to those who can adjust without losing essence. Flexibility is not submission, it is mastery of circumstance. A conscious choice to work with life rather than against it, and the secret pathway through which unexpected prosperity travels. Through adaptability, the mind learns to see beyond limitation, the heart learns to embrace uncertainty, and the spirit discovers the endless avenues through which life expresses abundance. The one who can flow, bend, and adjust in alignment with opportunity does not merely survive. They thrive in ways that the rigid, the fearful, and the resistant cannot imagine. Each obstacle becomes a lesson, each challenge a guide, and each change a portal to wealth in forms that defy expectation. Clearing thoughts creates channels for supply. The mind, like a riverbed, must be free from obstruction for abundance to flow. When fear, doubt, resentment, or anger fill the mental landscape, wealth encounters resistance, and the current of prosperity slows or diverts entirely. Just as water cannot pass through a clogged channel, opportunities and blessings cannot reach the one whose mind is congested with negative thought patterns. The first step toward wealth is therefore not external effort alone, but internal clearing. A mind uncluttered, calm, and expectant becomes a natural conduit for abundance, drawing resources, ideas, and circumstances with ease and clarity. Thoughts are the invisible architecture through which the flow of supply travels. Every limiting belief acts as a dam, stopping the circulation of wealth. I am not enough. There is never enough. I do not deserve this. These statements form mental blockages that prevent resources from arriving. Each thought carries energy, and the repeated reinforcement of limitation shapes the environment to reflect those beliefs. Clearing the mind does not mean ignoring reality. It means aligning with the principle that the universe is abundant, and that supply is always available for those whose minds are open and receptive. Gratitude is one of the most effective tools for clearing the mental channels. When one focuses on what is already present and expresses appreciation, the mind shifts from scarcity to abundance. Gratitude acts like a gentle current, washing away the debris of negative thinking and opening space for new wealth to flow. The person who maintains a mental practice of acknowledgement and thanks finds that opportunities present themselves naturally, ideas appear, and help arrives in ways previously unseen. Without gratitude, even favorable circumstances may go unnoticed, and the channels remain partially blocked by the murk of discontent and complaint. Forgiveness is another essential aspect of clearing thoughts. Harboring resentment, anger, or judgment creates internal turbulence that blocks the smooth flow of prosperity. Just as a river slowed by fallen branches loses momentum and energy, the mind burdened with grudges resists the natural movement of supply. To forgive is to remove these obstructions, to allow energy to circulate freely, and to make room for blessings to enter. Forgiveness does not condone harm, it simply releases the mind from holding on to what no longer serves, creating space for new abundance to manifest. Visualization and focused intention also serve as tools for clearing the channels of thought. By picturing the desired outcome clearly and consistently, one aligns mental energy with the reality they wish to create. A clear image of wealth, success, or opportunity acts like a straight, open channel, allowing the currents of supply to move unhindered. Confusion, uncertainty, or vague intentions act as twists and turns in the channel, dissipating energy and slowing the flow. The power of focused thought lies in its ability to carve a path through the subconscious mind, removing obstacles and directing the current of abundance where it is most effective. Self-talk shapes the flow as well. The language one uses internally sets the tone for external manifestation. Words of limitation or fear constrict the mind's openness to supply. Positive, affirming language opens the mental space, much like clearing debris from a river, but allows water to move freely. Statements such as, "I am capable of abundance," "opportunities flow to me easily," and "I am worthy of prosperity," are not merely motivational. They are practical instruments for maintaining clear channels through which wealth can pass. The repetition of such affirmations strengthens the mental pathways, ensuring that supply meets no resistance. Mental clutter, doubt, and indecision act as sediments in the river of thought, slowing the current and creating turbulence. To clear these sediments, one must practice discernment, choosing which ideas, influences, and priorities to allow in the mind. Not every worry, not every opinion, not every fear requires attention. By letting go of unnecessary mental weight, the flow of wealth becomes stronger and more direct. This discipline of mental selection and focus ensures that resources are drawn efficiently and effectively, without wasted effort or misdirection. Meditation and reflection serve to clear and deepen the channels of thought. When the mind is quieted, free from constant chatter and distraction, one becomes aware of hidden blockages and can release them consciously. Meditation allows insight into the ways limiting beliefs shape behavior and perception, enabling corrective action. As the mind gains clarity, intuition becomes stronger and opportunities for wealth become more apparent. The stillness of a clear mind mirrors the smooth surface of a pond, reflecting abundance without distortion and attracting circumstances that align with that clarity. The principle extends to habits and routines as well. Mental and emotional clutter often stems from chaotic lifestyles, poor organization, or scattered attention. By cultivating habits that promote clarity, regular planning, reflection, prioritization, and rest, the mind remains open to the flow of supply. A structured and harmonious inner life translates into an external reality in which wealth is more easily recognized and captured. Just as a well-maintained channel allows water to move without obstruction, disciplined routines enable the natural circulation of abundance to continue uninterrupted. Surroundings influence mental clarity too. The environment, physical, social, and informational, contributes to the mental currents that either block or facilitate wealth. Surrounding oneself with negativity, conflict, or excessive noise clogs the channels, while environments that inspire, uplift, and support clarity enhance them. Careful attention to the quality of inputs, books, media, relationships, and experiences ensures that the mind remains receptive. Clearing thought involves both internal work and external awareness, creating a holistic space in which supply can flow freely. Faith and expectancy are powerful allies in this process. Belief in the availability of abundance, trust in the mechanisms of supply, and confidence in one's own worth remove unseen barriers. The mind cannot receive fully if it doubts the legitimacy of wealth or fears inadequacy. Faith acts like a cleansing current, sweeping away fear and reinforcing the openness required for prosperity. Expectancy keeps the channels alert, sensitive, and ready to receive, turning potential opportunities into realized blessings. Every act of generosity, kindness, and constructive contribution further clears mental channels. When one gives without fear, the energy of supply is reinforced. The mind, knowing that circulation brings return, releases tension and opens space for new ideas, resources, and opportunities. The more one aligns thought with the principles of flow and clarity, the more seamless the movement of wealth becomes. Each thought, word, and action either contributes to clarity or adds sediment to the channels, and conscious attention to this process ensures the unrestricted flow of supply. To clear thought is to harmonize with the natural law of abundance. The universe flows through mental channels, responding to openness, gratitude, forgiveness, focus, and trust. When these channels are clear, wealth moves as easily as water through an unobstructed river. Blocked thought creates scarcity, resistance, and frustration. Cleared thought creates opportunity, energy, and the effortless arrival of prosperity. A mind uncluttered is like a spring flowing freely, drawing from the infinite reservoir and nourishing life wherever it reaches. Gratitude aligns with the tide of increase. The simple act of recognizing and appreciating what is already present in life opens the mind and heart to receive far more than the eye can see. Gratitude is a powerful magnet for abundance because it shifts focus from scarcity to sufficiency, from lack to plenty. When the mind dwells on what it already possesses, it acknowledges the fullness of life, and in doing so, it signals the universe that it is ready to receive more. The energy of thankfulness is not passive. It is a dynamic force that attracts opportunities, wealth, and blessings in ways that logical planning or effort alone cannot achieve. The principle of gratitude is evident in nature. Trees, animals, and the seasons perform their work in harmony, responding to the cycles of life without complaint, without resistance. The soil receives rainfall, the sun nourishes plants, and each element contributes its part, creating abundance naturally. Humans, too, are designed to thrive when they recognize the gifts that already exist. By focusing on what is present rather than what is missing, the mind removes resistance and opens channels through which the flow of prosperity can move unhindered. Appreciation becomes a key that unlocks doors previously unseen. Gratitude transforms perception. When one sees each circumstance, person, and possession as a gift, the mind shifts from judgment to acceptance, from limitation to possibility. A grateful mindset perceives the hidden opportunities in challenges, the lessons in setbacks, and the value in simple moments. Wealth flows more easily to those who see abundance in the present, for they are no longer creating mental blocks of resistance or fear. Each expression of gratitude strengthens the connection to the universal supply, making it easier for resources to arrive and circulate. Daily practice of gratitude amplifies its effect. Taking time to consciously acknowledge blessings, whether large or small, trains the mind to expect more good in life. A simple routine of reflection, journaling, or spoken acknowledgement creates an internal rhythm that aligns with the law of increase. The mind begins to focus on solutions, possibilities, and the richness already present, rather than on deficits or limitations. This shift in focus alone produces a remarkable change in how abundance manifests, turning potential opportunities into tangible wealth. Gratitude also cultivates faith. When one appreciates what is already available, there is trust that the source of supply is reliable and unending. This faith removes doubt, which is one of the greatest obstacles to wealth. A person who is thankful for what they have implicitly trusts that more is available and that the universe will respond to alignment with its laws. The energy of faith reinforces the power of gratitude, creating a feedback loop in which expectation and appreciation amplify one another, drawing resources, ideas, and opportunities toward the individual. Even in difficult circumstances, gratitude has transformative power. Life does not always present what is desired immediately, yet focusing on what is present allows one to see avenues of increase that would otherwise be hidden. A challenging situation, when approached with thankfulness for the lessons it brings, becomes a stepping stone rather than a barrier. This mindset releases energy trapped in frustration or fear and redirects it toward creative solutions and fruitful action. Wealth is not merely the accumulation of money, it includes insight, opportunity, relationships, and experiences, all of which are attracted more readily when gratitude governs thought. The act of giving naturally flows from gratitude. When one appreciates the abundance already present, there is an impulse to share it with others. This sharing, in turn, circulates wealth and reinforces the principle that prosperity is not finite but dynamic. The energy of giving multiplies what is received, creating a flow of abundance that continually renews itself. Gratitude fuels this process by reminding the giver of the richness that already exists, allowing generosity to come from a place of fullness rather than fear. Each act of giving based on thankfulness becomes a channel through which more wealth is drawn into life. Gratitude also aligns the mind with opportunities that might otherwise go unnoticed. When a person is focused on appreciation, they become more sensitive to possibilities, relationships, and solutions that can enhance prosperity. A grateful mind notices doors opening, ideas arriving, and people willing to assist. In contrast, a mind that dwells on lack often misses these subtle signals, trapped in a narrow perspective. Thankfulness expands perception, enabling one to recognize and seize opportunities that are aligned with their desires and the natural flow of increase. In addition, gratitude enhances resilience. Life is full of uncertainties, and the path to wealth often involves challenges. Those who maintain gratitude remain grounded and centered even in the face of setbacks. By focusing on what is working and what is already abundant, the mind avoids being overwhelmed by obstacles and instead channels energy toward constructive action. This mental state is fertile for wealth creation because it combines optimism, focus, and alignment with the laws of abundance, producing outcomes that are both unexpected and substantial. Gratitude also attracts cooperation and assistance. People naturally respond to those who express genuine appreciation. Relationships flourish when gratitude is expressed, creating networks of support and collaboration that contribute to prosperity. The energy of thankfulness communicates openness and receptivity, inviting others to participate in the flow of abundance. In both personal and professional life, gratitude strengthens bonds, builds trust, and enhances the exchange of resources, all of which are essential for the continuous increase of wealth. The spiritual dimension of gratitude cannot be overlooked. Thankfulness aligns the individual with the infinite source of abundance. By acknowledging and appreciating what already exists, The mind harmonizes with the universal law that supplies all needs. This alignment opens channels that are otherwise blocked by fear, doubt, or attachment. The act of gratitude itself carries an energetic frequency that resonates with the rhythm of increase, drawing more of the same into the individual's life. The more consistently gratitude is practiced, the more natural and effortless the flow of wealth becomes, as the mind, heart, and spirit move in harmony with the principles of universal supply. Gratitude, when cultivated as a habitual attitude, transforms life into a magnet for wealth in all forms. It is not merely a polite acknowledgement, but a powerful tool that clears mental, emotional, and spiritual channels for abundance. Each expression of thankfulness reinforces the belief in sufficiency, encourages giving, enhances perception, and strengthens resilience. It creates a fertile environment where opportunities, resources, and ideas can enter freely, multiply, and return, feeding a cycle of continual increase. The practice of gratitude is therefore both a conscious discipline and a natural state that aligns the individual with the infinite tide of supply, ensuring that wealth is recognized, welcomed, and fully received. Every moment spent in genuine appreciation strengthens the alignment with the law of increase. The mind trained to see gifts in all circumstances is naturally open to new forms of wealth. It notices opportunities where others see obstacles, perceives solutions where others see problems, and attracts the support, guidance, and resources necessary to transform potential into reality. The energy of gratitude moves through thought, action, and intention, creating a dynamic flow that continuously reinforces and expands prosperity. The ripple effect of gratitude extends far beyond the individual. Families, communities, and even broader networks benefit when people practice thankfulness, for the energy of appreciation generates cooperation, kindness, and resourcefulness. Gratitude not only attracts wealth to the individual, but enhances the environment in which abundance can multiply. The act of recognizing blessings, expressing thanks, and sharing generously aligns one with a universal rhythm of increase, making prosperity both inevitable and continuous. The words you speak this morning are shaping your future. I want you to pause and let that truth settle into your spirit. Every syllable, every declaration, every whisper that leaves your lips carries a creative force that moves unseen energies into action. Most people rise in the morning and speak words carelessly, unaware that they are already planting seeds for tomorrow's harvest. They say, "I'm so tired. I don't know how I'll make it today. Nothing ever works out for me." And then they wonder why life feels heavy, why opportunities seem scarce, why peace feels out of reach. But spiritual law is exact. It is not mocked, nor does it fail. What you speak today, you will see tomorrow. Your words are not mere sounds, they are divine commands. When you speak, you are writing instructions to the universe. You are shaping your experiences, inviting either favor or fear, blessing or burden, peace or chaos. Your words are seeds, and every seed you plant must grow. There is no neutral speech. Everything you say is either bringing life or bringing death into your circumstances. This is why Scripture declares, life and death are in the power of the tongue. It is not poetry, it is law. You are a creator, and your greatest tool is your voice. As you begin your day, I want you to see your words as spiritual keys. Some keys unlock blessings and miracles, and some lock you into cycles of struggle. If you rise each day and speak fear, doubt, and lack, you will open doors to those very things. But if you wake up and speak faith, gratitude, and abundance, you will unlock blessings faster than you imagined. There is no delay in spirit. Spirit responds to the voice of faith. Heaven listens to the sound of belief. Angels are dispatched when you declare words aligned with truth. I have seen this law at work countless times. I have watched people rise from despair to joy simply by changing their words. I have seen financial doors open when someone stopped saying, "I can't afford this," and began declaring, "Divine supply meets every need." I live in a universe of endless abundance. I have seen health restored when a person stopped rehearsing sickness and started speaking life. I am whole. I am vibrant. The life of God flows through me now. The moment you shift your language, you shift your future. Most people live in reaction, describing what they see rather than creating what they desire. But you are not called to be a victim of circumstance. You are called to be a creator under divine law. You have been given the power to speak things into existence. Your word is your wand. It has the authority to shape matter, to call forth opportunities, to rearrange the very fabric of your life. What you speak today will not merely influence your mood. It will architect your tomorrow. So I ask you this morning, what are you planting? Are your words planting weeds of worry or seeds of faith? Are you cursing your own life without realizing it? Every time you say, "I'm always unlucky," life simply agrees. Every time you say, "I'm so broke," the universe responds, "Very well." But when you say, "I am divinely prospered, everything I need comes to me quickly and easily," you activate a spiritual law that cannot be broken. Life then rearranges itself to match your words. I am here to tell you today that your words are not powerless. They are living forces, they are containers of energy, carrying either faith or fear. If you want to see miracles, you must first speak them. If you want to live in abundance, you must declare abundance. Do not wait for circumstances to change before you speak differently. Speak differently, and your circumstances will change. This is the key most people overlook. You do not describe your life, you design it. As you begin this day, I challenge you to guard your tongue like a precious treasure. Let every word you speak be filled with life. Speak health, speak wealth, speak protection, speak favor. Say out loud, "This is a day of blessings. Everything I need flows to me under grace. I walk in divine order, guided and protected every step of the way." Watch how quickly things begin to shift. Your words are your greatest spiritual currency. Use them wisely. Today, choose to speak only those things you desire to see. Plant seeds of faith and abundance, and your life will bloom accordingly. This is your power, your divine inheritance, and your invitation. Use your words to create the miracle-filled day you deserve. Before I guide you into today's affirmations and teachings, I want you to understand who I am and why these words carry power. I am Florence Scovel Shinn, and my life's work has been to reveal to men and women the laws of spirit, the laws that govern health, wealth, success, and happiness. I am not here to give you empty platitudes or shallow encouragement. I am here to teach you divine law, a law as exact as mathematics, a law that never fails when applied correctly. And that law says, your life is a reflection of your words, your thoughts, and your unwavering faith. Years ago, I discovered a truth that would change my entire existence. Everything in life begins in the unseen. Every home you live in, every dollar you spend, every opportunity that crosses your path was once invisible. It was once only an idea, a thought, a spoken word. The visible world is only the picturing of the invisible. If you want to change your life, you must first change the unseen patterns within yourself, your thoughts, your beliefs, and most importantly, your words. For words are not idle expressions, they are the building blocks of your destiny. In my book, The Game of Life, and How to Play It, I wrote that life is not a battle, it is a game, and like every game, it has rules. Most people live in confusion and struggle because they do not know the rules. They move through life blindly, speaking words of fear, expecting failure, and attracting chaos. But those who learn the rules, those who learn to harness the power of their words, their thoughts, and their faith, find that life becomes a masterpiece. They do not live by luck, they live by law. One of the greatest truths I teach is this: your word is your wand. You have been given the power to speak things into existence, to create order out of chaos, to summon abundance out of lack. When you speak with authority, when your words are backed by faith, heaven itself responds. The angels hear your voice, and unseen forces move to bring your words to pass. But the opposite is also true. Words of fear, doubt, and defeat create more of the same. That is why I say, you are either blessing your life or cursing it every time you open your mouth. I am not here to teach superstition. I am here to teach science, spiritual science. The law of the spoken word is as real as the law of gravity. Gravity does not care if you believe in it, it will pull you down regardless. In the same way, spiritual law is working all the time, whether or not you are aware of it. If you speak failure, you will experience failure, not because God has abandoned you, but because you are declaring and creating your own reality. If you speak success, if you boldly declare abundance, if you affirm health and harmony, those very things must appear, because divine law is exact. When I first began teaching these principles, many came to me with skepticism. They would say, "Mrs. Shinn, you mean to tell me that words can change my life?" And I would answer, "Yes, words spoken with faith are invincible forces." Over the years, I have seen miracle after miracle unfold for those who dared to believe. I have seen men lifted from poverty into wealth because they stopped declaring lack and started affirming divine supply. I have seen women heal from incurable illnesses because they replaced words of fear with words of faith. I have seen marriages restored, debts erased, doors of opportunity open. All because people learned the secret power of the spoken word. My mission is simple: to awaken you to your God-given authority. You are not a victim of chance, fate, or circumstances. You are a creator, made in the image of a creator. And your most powerful tool of creation is your tongue. That is why this message is so important. The words you speak this morning will shape your tomorrow. They will determine the opportunities that come, the relationships that form, the peace you feel, and the prosperity you experience. When you truly grasp this truth, your life will change. You will stop wasting words on fear, gossip, and complaint. You will begin to speak with intention. You will learn to prophesy over your own life, declaring health, wealth, joy, and favor. And you will watch as divine law responds, quickly and powerfully. I invite you to journey with me today. Open your heart to these truths, not as mere motivation, but as spiritual science that has been tested and proven. If you will practice these teachings daily, your words will become wands of power, and your life will reflect the beauty and abundance that is already yours by divine right. Today is not just another day, it is a new beginning. And that beginning starts with your voice. So speak carefully, speak boldly, speak faithfully. The moment you choose to align your words with truth, your destiny begins to shift. This is why I am here. To remind you of your power, to point you back to God's law, and to show you that miracles are not rare accidents. They are the natural outcome of faith-filled words. Morning is the most powerful time of your day. When you wake, your mind is soft, open, and impressionable. It is like fresh soil, ready to receive seeds. The words you speak first thing in the morning are those seeds, and they will determine the kind of day you live, and, more importantly, the future you create. Most people rise and start speaking fear, stress, and doubt without realizing that they are programming their day with these very vibrations. They say, "I'm exhausted already," or "I'm so worried about what's ahead." These words are not harmless. They are blueprints, sending instructions to the subconscious mind and the universe itself. Morning sets the tone for everything that follows. When you speak blessings as soon as you wake, you align yourself with divine order. You create a vibration that calls forth peace, prosperity, and favor before you even step outside your door. But when you start your day with negative speech, you invite chaos before your feet even hit the floor. This is not superstition, this is spiritual law. Your subconscious mind is most open in the first hour of your day, and whatever words you speak during this time will sink deep into your heart and begin shaping your reality. Think of it like a garden. If you plant weeds early in the morning, those weeds will grow all day, and by evening, you will be surrounded by them. But if you plant flowers, words of faith, truth, and gratitude, those will bloom and create beauty throughout your day. The same sun that grows weeds also grows roses. The difference is in the seed. Morning words are seeds, and you decide whether your day is a garden of blessings or a tangle of problems. I once worked with a man who told me that every morning, his first words were, "Another terrible day ahead." He had no idea that this habit was programming his life. He carried that expectation everywhere he went, and life simply obeyed his words. I asked him to try something new for 1 week. Before even getting out of bed, he was to say, "Today is a day of miracles. I am divinely guided, protected, and blessed." At first, he laughed and said it felt foolish. But after 3 days, he noticed something extraordinary. He felt calmer, opportunities flowed more easily, and even strangers treated him with unexpected kindness. The words he spoke in the morning shifted his entire vibration, and life responded. This is why I urge you to treat your mornings as sacred. The first words you speak should not be careless chatter, they should be spiritual declarations. The world is full of noise, and once you step into your day, distractions will try to pull your attention in every direction. But when you take those first moments to speak life, you anchor yourself in truth. You enter your day not as a victim of circumstances, but as a co-creator with God, commanding your life to align with divine order. Your mornings are a spiritual reset. No matter what happened yesterday, no matter what challenges you faced last night, every sunrise brings a new opportunity to speak differently and create differently. The Spirit of God is always fresh. His mercies are new every morning. When you open your mouth at dawn and declare, This is a day of blessings, favor, and miracles. You are activating spiritual law. The universe responds to faith-filled words, and your day bends itself to match your declaration. Do not underestimate the power of this habit. Most people think their day happens to them, but I say your day begins in you. If you begin with gratitude, you will see more to be grateful for. If you begin with fear, you will see more to fear. Spiritual law is exact. It gives you more of what you focus on and speak. That is why morning affirmations are not optional for those who wish to live in abundance. They are essential. Let your first words each morning be words of victory. Say, I am divinely guided today. Everything I need flows to me easily. I am surrounded by love, protected by grace, and supplied by heaven. Speak these words even if you feel tired, even if fear is whispering in your ear. Speak them with authority, because spiritual law does not move by feelings, it moves by faith. The moment you declare truth, you override fear. If you want to transform your entire life, start by transforming your mornings. Stop reaching for your phone as soon as you wake. Stop speaking complaints before you've even gotten out of bed. Instead, take a breath, close your eyes, and align your heart with spirit. Then open your mouth and speak blessings. Do this for 7 days, and you will notice a shift. Do this for 30 days, and your life will begin to change dramatically. The morning is your chance to reset the energy of your life. Use it wisely. If you speak life at sunrise, you will walk through your day with peace, favor, and strength. Doors will open that no man can shut. Problems will dissolve before they reach you. People will be drawn to bless you, because your words will have created an atmosphere that attracts good. This is why I say, the most important words you speak all day are the ones you speak first. Treat your mornings as holy ground, for in them lies the blueprint of your destiny. There is a law that governs life, and once you understand it, you will never again feel powerless. It is the law of manifestation, the spiritual truth that everything you see in your life began first in the unseen. Every success story, every home, every relationship, every miracle was once only a thought, a word, a belief spoken into being. The physical world is not the starting point of creation. It is the result. Manifestation is simply the process of bringing what already exists in spirit into form. Many people believe that life is random, that blessings are handed out sparingly, and that they have no control over their circumstances. But I am here to tell you this: you are not a victim of chance, you are a co-creator with God. The same power that formed the universe is available to you. The scriptures say, "In the beginning was the Word, and the Word was with God, and the Word was God." That means the very foundation of creation is the spoken word. When God spoke, "Let there be light," light appeared. And when you speak words backed by faith, you are using that same divine principle to shape your reality. Words are not empty sounds. They carry vibration, and vibration attracts. Your words are spiritual magnets pulling experiences toward you. When you declare, "I am healthy, strong, and whole," you are aligning your vibration with health, and your body begins to respond. When you say, "I am abundantly supplied," opportunities start to move in your direction. On the other hand, when you say, "I'm always broke," or "Nothing ever works out for me," you are planting seeds of lack and failure, and those seeds cannot help but grow. Your subconscious mind is the fertile soil in which your words are planted. It does not argue, it does not question, it simply accepts whatever you say repeatedly as truth. If you say, "I am unlucky," your subconscious will find ways to prove you right. If you say, "I am divinely guided and protected," your subconscious will open doors of guidance and safety. You are programming your life every time you open your mouth. The universe is simply echoing what you have already decreed. I once counseled a woman who was desperate for a new home. She had been searching for months with no success, and she came to me discouraged. I asked her, "What have you been saying about finding a home?" She sighed and said, "I keep saying, I'll never find anything I like." And I said to her, "There is your answer. You are prophesying lack with your own words." I gave her a new affirmation: I am divinely led to the perfect home, and it comes to me with speed, under grace, and in perfect ways. She began speaking it daily, and within weeks, she found a home that was better than she imagined, at a price she could afford. That is not luck, that is law. Manifestation is not magic, it is alignment. When your words and thoughts align with truth, creation becomes effortless. But when your words contradict your desires, you create resistance. Many people pray for blessings while speaking defeat, and they wonder why nothing changes. They say, "I hope God will help me," yet immediately follow it with, "But I doubt it will ever happen." Your words cancel out your prayers. You cannot plant weeds and expect roses. You must plant what you want to grow, and you plant it through words. Let me make this simple for you. Manifestation begins in thought, is empowered by belief, and is brought into form by words. The law is always working, whether you realize it or not. You are already manifesting daily. Your job, your relationships, your finances, your health are all mirrors of your inner speech. If you want to see something different, you must begin speaking differently. This is not positive thinking alone, it is spiritual science. It is understanding that God created you in His image, and He spoke the world into being. That means you have been given the gift of creation through speech. I encourage you to examine your words today. Do they match the life you desire? Or are they reinforcing the life you wish to leave behind? Begin replacing every word of fear with faith. Instead of saying, "I can't afford this," say, "God is my unlimited source. All that I need comes to me now." Instead of saying, "I'm so unlucky," declare, "I am divinely favored, and good follows me everywhere I go." This simple shift will begin to change your vibration, and as your vibration changes, so will your experiences. Manifestation is not about forcing outcomes. It is about aligning with the truth that your blessings already exist in spirit. The moment you speak as if it is already done, you call it into your reality. That is why I tell my students, never beg God for what is already yours by divine right. Speak it, claim it, declare it. Your faith-filled words are the bridge between the unseen and the seen. Today, understand that your mouth is a tool of creation. Every declaration is like a brush stroke, painting your life's canvas. Speak deliberately. Speak faithfully. Speak boldly. You are not waiting for miracles. Miracles are waiting for your voice. Now that you understand the power of your words and the law that governs them, it's time to speak life into your morning. These affirmations are not idle sentences, they are spiritual decrees. When spoken with faith and conviction, they unlock blessings, align you with divine order, and set the tone for your entire day. Before we begin, I want you to take a deep breath. Place your hand over your heart and feel the rhythm of life pulsing within you. This is proof that Spirit is alive in you, guiding and sustaining you even now. As you repeat these words, imagine them going forth like seeds, planted into rich, fertile soil, ready to grow and bear fruit. You are not merely reciting phrases, you are rewriting your destiny. Speak each line slowly, with authority, and allow yourself to feel the truth behind the words. I am divinely guided in every step I take today. Say this with confidence. Know that you are never alone. Invisible hands are directing your path, and every decision you make is led by Spirit. Guidance is not something you have to search for. It flows through you naturally when you align with divine order. I am abundantly supplied. All that I need comes to me quickly and easily under grace. Picture doors opening for you. See opportunities flowing your way. Believe that your provision has already been arranged. This affirmation is a key that unlocks the storehouses of heaven, reminding you that God's supply is infinite and ever-present. I am strong, healthy, and filled with divine energy. Speak this even if your body feels weak. Your words carry healing power. You are declaring life over every cell, every organ, every system of your body. Health is your birthright, and by speaking it, you allow the life of God to flow through you. I walk in perfect peace today, no matter what comes. See yourself moving through your day with calm assurance, no longer tossed by fear or worry. Peace is not the absence of problems, it is the presence of God within you. This affirmation seals your day in protection and calm strength. Everything I touch today prospers and succeeds. And say this boldly. Speak it over your work, your family, your finances, and every interaction you have. Prosperity is not luck, it is law. When you speak this affirmation, you charge your day with success and expectation. I am surrounded by love, favor, and kindness everywhere I go. Feel this as truth. Imagine every person you meet treating you with grace, every door opening easily, every situation bending in your favor. You are creating an atmosphere that draws kindness and opportunity like a magnet. This is a day of miracles, blessings, and divine surprises. They allow yourself to expect the unexpected. Believe that today is not ordinary. It is filled with moments of grace designed specifically for you. When you speak this, you give heaven permission to astonish you with goodness. Now pause for a moment and let these words sink in. Close your eyes and picture yourself walking through your day carrying this energy. See your body radiating health. See your home filled with peace. See opportunities coming to you with ease. Your words have already gone out into the universe, and the law of God is already at work, arranging every detail in your favor. Affirmations are not magic. They are truth spoken with authority. They align your heart, mind, and spirit with God's perfect plan. When you repeat them daily, they reprogram your subconscious mind and create a vibration that attracts blessings. Think of them as spiritual armor. They protect you from negativity and keep your focus on what is real: the abundance, peace, and love that already exist in spirit. Many people wake up and allow fear to set the tone for their day. They immediately check their phones, read the news, and speak words of worry. But you are choosing a higher path. By starting your day with faith-filled declarations, you are rising above the noise of the world and anchoring yourself in truth. The more you speak these affirmations, the more natural they will feel. At first, your circumstances may not match your words, but keep speaking. Faith does not look at appearances. Faith speaks the end result into being. You are training your mind and your environment to align with spirit. In time, your life will reflect what you say with conviction. Repeat these affirmations every morning for at least 7 days, and watch for small shifts. Then extend this practice to 30 days, and you will see your life begin to transform. Opportunities will come. Unexpected blessings will appear. Relationships will heal. You will walk in a peace and confidence that nothing can shake. This is not a hope, it is a law. Remember, every morning is a new opportunity to write your day before it unfolds. By speaking these affirmations with boldness, you are stepping into the role of creator. You are shaping your reality with the power of your tongue. Let these words become a habit so deeply rooted in you that they are the first sounds your lips make each day. Your mornings are holy ground, and your words are the keys that unlock miracles. Begin each day with these truths, and your life will become a living testimony of God's perfect order. Now that you have spoken words of truth, let us seal them with vision. For words are seeds, but visualization is the sunlight that warms them and gives them life. The scriptures say, "As a man thinketh in his heart, so is he." This means that what you hold in your imagination, what you see with your inner eye, is just as important as what you speak. Vision is faith in picture form. When you see your blessings as already yours, you send a powerful signal to the universe. This is mine now. And the law of God responds. Find a comfortable position. If you are sitting, let your shoulders relax, and place your hands gently in your lap. If you are standing, stand tall but soft, as if the weight of worry has just melted off you. Close your eyes and take a slow, deep breath. Inhale peace. Exhale tension. Breathe again, filling your lungs completely, and release every burden, every thought of yesterday, every fear about tomorrow. Feel yourself becoming still, grounded, and open to the divine presence that surrounds you now. Now imagine a soft, golden light filling the space around you. See it entering the room like the morning sun, bathing every corner in warmth. This light represents the presence of spirit, the divine mind that holds the blueprint for your perfect life. See this light wrapping around you like a cloak of safety, love, and power. Let it settle over you, calming your mind and reassuring your heart. This is the energy of God's perfect order, and it is here, in this very moment. Picture yourself standing at the door of a beautiful garden. This is the garden of your life, and everything you see within it reflects what you have planted with your words and beliefs. For some, this garden may feel overgrown with weeds of worry or disappointment. But today, you are here to transform it. In your mind's eye, see yourself carrying a basket filled with seeds, seeds of faith, abundance, love, and joy. Walk into the garden now. See yourself kneeling down and planting these seeds carefully, one by one, speaking over each one as you do. When you plant the seed of abundance, say, "I am abundantly supplied." As you plant the seed of health, say, "I am whole and strong." As you plant the seed of peace, say, "I walk in divine calm." With each word, see a golden glow radiate from your hands, sinking deep into the soil of your subconscious mind. Now imagine these seeds sprouting instantly. Watch as beautiful green shoots push through the ground. See flowers of prosperity bloom around you. See towering trees of strength and confidence rising higher and higher. Your entire garden is bursting into life. The weeds are gone, replaced with vibrant beauty and abundance. You are standing in a world that reflects your faith-filled words. Take a moment to see yourself living the life you desire. If you are believing for financial supply, see yourself opening letters of unexpected blessings or holding your bank statement with gratitude. If you are believing for health, see yourself strong, moving with energy, glowing with life. If you are believing for love, picture yourself surrounded by warm, joyful relationships. Let these visions be vivid and real. Feel them as if they are happening right now, because in spirit, they already are. Now imagine yourself walking through this garden with confidence. The same golden light that filled the room earlier now pours down from heaven, illuminating every step. You are not striving. You are not begging. You are simply receiving. Everything you desire is flowing toward you with ease, because you are aligned with divine law. The garden of your life is thriving because you are planting truth daily. Breathe in deeply again. As you exhale, whisper softly, "Thank you, Spirit." Gratitude is the water that nourishes these seeds. It tells the universe that you are ready, that you are expecting, that you trust God's perfect timing. Let gratitude fill your entire being. See the joy on your own face as you realize, this life you're imagining is not a fantasy. It is your reality in the making. Stay in this visualization for a moment longer. Feel peace wash over you. Feel your faith growing stronger. This picture you are holding in your mind is your blueprint, and every word you speak will give it more and more substance until it manifests in the physical world. When you are ready, take a slow, deep breath and open your eyes gently. As you return to your surroundings, remember that the light you felt, the beauty you saw, and the confidence you carried in that vision is with you right now. It is not bound to your imagination, it is spirit whispering, "This is yours." Visualization is not wishful thinking, it is training your inner world to align with truth. When your inner world is strong, the outer world has no choice but to reflect it. This is why I tell my students, see it, feel it, speak it, and it must come to pass. Use this visualization every morning after your affirmations. See your life as you want it, not as it is, and your faith will become unstoppable. Let me share a story with you, a story that demonstrates, beyond all doubt, the power of words, faith, and visualization. Many years ago, a woman came to me in utter despair. Her eyes were tired from crying, and her voice trembled with hopelessness as she said, "Mrs. Shinn, I feel like I'm cursed. I've tried everything, and nothing works. I can't find steady work, I'm drowning in debt, and I feel as if life is against me." I looked at her and said gently but firmly, "My dear, life is not against you, but your words are. You are speaking curses over your own life every day without realizing it. You are declaring defeat with every breath." She looked at me with confusion, so I explained, "You see, every time you say, 'I'm cursed,' 'I'm broke,' or 'I'm unlucky,' you are planting those seeds in your subconscious mind. The law of your life is responding to you faithfully. It is not punishing you. It is simply giving you what you declare." She buried her face in her hands and whispered, "So, what do I do?" I smiled and said, "We are going to rewrite your life with new words. We are going to speak a new prophecy over you." I gave her a simple affirmation. "I am divinely led to my perfect work. All that is mine by divine right now comes to me quickly, easily, and under grace." I told her to repeat it daily, morning, noon, and night. I also taught her to visualize herself walking confidently into her perfect job, smiling with gratitude, and feeling the security of being abundantly supplied. At first, she struggled. Her old thoughts would creep in, and doubt would whisper, "This is silly. Words can't change your life." But she kept going. She wrote the affirmation on slips of paper and placed them by her bed, on her mirror, and in her purse. She would say it out loud every morning and every evening. She stopped speaking fear and replaced every negative word with truth. Within a week, something remarkable happened. She received a phone call from a friend she hadn't spoken to in years, offering her temporary work. She accepted it, and instead of saying, "Well, it's just temporary," she declared, "This is my first step into abundance." 2 weeks later, while working at that temporary job, she met someone who connected her to a permanent position. One that matched her skills perfectly and paid far more than she'd earned before. But that was only the beginning. As she continued to speak her affirmations daily, her life began to shift in other ways. She received unexpected checks in the mail. Her relationships improved. She even noticed her health getting better because she no longer woke up heavy with dread. She woke up expectant and filled with hope. When she returned to see me months later, she was unrecognizable, not just because her circumstances had changed, but because her energy had shifted. She stood taller, her voice was clear, and her face glowed with confidence. She said, "Mrs. Shinn, it feels like I stepped into another world. The old me is gone." I said, "That world was always there. You simply aligned yourself with it through your words and your faith." Her story is a perfect example of how the law of the spoken word works. You see, many people pray for miracles but speak defeat. They visualize blessings but declare lack. This creates resistance. But when your words, your faith, and your vision are in harmony, the universe has no choice but to respond. The law of God is exact. It does not pick and choose favorites, it responds to belief. This woman didn't change her life because she worked harder or begged louder. She changed her life because she believed differently, spoke differently, and saw differently. Her words were no longer careless, they were creative. She declared a new reality, and the law fulfilled it. This story is not rare, it is a mirror of what can happen for you. If you are facing impossible odds right now, understand this: your circumstances are not permanent. You are one decision away from a complete turnaround. That decision is to take control of your words and speak only those things that align with truth. The same spiritual law that worked for this woman is working for you right now. Every word you speak is a seed. Every vision you hold is a blueprint. The moment you stop rehearsing fear and start declaring faith, your life will begin to shift. People will come into your life unexpectedly. Opportunities will appear out of nowhere. Solutions will rise to meet you. But they will not come because you begged for them. They will come because you spoke them into being and believed they were already yours. I share this testimony so you know this teaching is not theory. It is not wishful thinking. It is truth that has been proven over and over again. Speak life, and life will answer. Speak abundance, and abundance will come. Speak peace, and chaos will fade. Your voice is powerful, and your words carry divine authority. Use them today, and your life will become a testimony too. Now that you understand the power of your words and the law of manifestation, it is time to create a spiritual routine, a practice so consistent and intentional that speaking life becomes your natural way of living. Transformation does not happen by chance, it happens by design. And that design begins with your voice. Just as an athlete trains their body daily to build strength, you must train your tongue to speak faith until it becomes instinctive. Your words are not meant to be careless. They are creative tools, spiritual instruments that shape your reality moment by moment. If you will commit to this daily speech practice, you will notice a shift in your energy, your opportunities, and your entire life. This is not a ritual, it is spiritual science. The more consistent you are, the faster you will see results. Here is a simple yet powerful 3-step routine. Step 1. Morning declarations. Start the day in alignment. The first hour of your morning is the most important part of your day because your subconscious mind is like soft clay, ready to be molded. The words you speak in those moments will echo through every encounter and decision you face. Instead of rushing to your phone or speaking words of worry, rise in stillness and gratitude. Place your hand over your heart and declare, "Thank you, Spirit, for this new day. I walk in divine order, guided and supplied. I am surrounded by love, favor, and protection. This is a day of miracles, blessings, and joy." Say these words aloud with authority. Speak them slowly and deliberately, allowing your voice to set the vibration for your day. You are commanding your environment before you step into it. If possible, speak your affirmations while looking in a mirror. See yourself as the confident, radiant person you are becoming. This practice creates not only spiritual alignment, but also confidence and peace that carries through the entire day. Step 2. Daytime vigilance. Guarding your tongue. Throughout the day, you must become a watchman over your own words. Most people sabotage their progress by speaking fear and negativity without realizing it. They complain about their finances, their job, their family, and then wonder why nothing changes. Spiritual law cannot bless words of defeat. Carry a small affirmation card in your pocket or keep a note on your phone with powerful declarations such as, Everything I need comes to me at the perfect time. I radiate success and attract opportunities. My words carry power. I speak only truth and blessings. Whenever you feel fear rising or negativity trying to slip out of your mouth, pause and correct yourself immediately. Replace every complaint with gratitude, every doubt with a declaration of faith. This may feel awkward at first, but soon it will become natural. You are retraining your mind and rewiring your energy to align with truth. Remember, your words are like a steering wheel. They turn your life in the direction you speak. Step 3: Evening Reset. Speaking peace before rest. Before you sleep, cleanse your heart and mind with words of peace. The last thoughts you hold before bed will continue to work in your subconscious while you sleep, shaping your tomorrow. Instead of replaying fears or frustrations, close your day with gratitude and faith-filled declarations. Say, I release every worry and trust Spirit to handle every detail of my life. I rest in peace, knowing I am safe, loved, and cared for. I am grateful for today, and I look forward to even greater blessings tomorrow. This practice resets your spirit, allowing you to sleep deeply and wake up renewed. Your subconscious will take those words of faith and prepare the way for miracles to manifest while you rest. This daily speech practice works because it keeps you in constant alignment with divine law. Most people speak truth only when they feel positive. This routine trains you to speak faith regardless of circumstances. When your words are consistent, your vibration is consistent, and the universe responds accordingly. Within a few weeks, you will begin to notice small changes, people treating you differently, unexpected opportunities appearing, a sense of peace replacing anxiety. Within months, your entire life will feel transformed. This is not because your situation magically shifted overnight. It is because your words rewrote your reality from the inside out. Remember, your tongue is a creative tool. It is the pen that writes your destiny. When you speak truth daily, you are no longer reacting to life. You are creating it. Commit to this routine for 30 days. Morning declarations, daytime vigilance, and evening resets. Every single day. Write your favorite affirmations where you can see them. Record yourself speaking them, and listen to your own voice declaring truth. Refuse to allow fear, gossip, or negativity to pass through your lips. Do this, and watch your life shift. Not because you are striving, but because you are aligning with a law that has been working since the beginning of time. As Scripture says, in the beginning was the Word. And today, the Word is still the beginning of everything in your life. Your tomorrow is not waiting for luck, it is waiting for your words. Your future is not hidden in chance, it is hidden in your faith. Right now, in this very moment, you are holding the keys to everything you have prayed for. Those keys are not buried in some distant land or locked in the hands of others. They are in your mouth. Every time you speak, you are unlocking blessings or shutting them out. Every time you declare truth, you are planting seeds that will grow into your reality. I want you to pause and ask yourself, what kind of world are you creating with your words? Are you speaking defeat, frustration, and limitation? Are you declaring things like, I can't catch a break, or I'm always struggling, and then living out those very statements? Or are you speaking life, faith, and abundance? The universe is always listening, and so is your own soul. You are constantly programming yourself with every sentence that leaves your lips. Understand this. Your words are not just sounds. They are spiritual law. Just as gravity pulls you down whether you believe in it or not, your words shape your reality, whether you are aware of it or not. This is why I urge you to speak deliberately. Stop using words casually, because nothing about your voice is casual. It is creative. When you speak, you are sending a command to your subconscious mind, and your mind then shapes your life to match your words. Speak fear, and fear multiplies. Speak faith, and faith becomes substance. I have seen lives transformed in days when people finally understood this truth. I've seen men and women walk into their miracles simply by speaking them into existence with conviction. One woman I taught went from despair to abundance because she dared to replace every word of defeat with a declaration of truth. Every morning she said, "I am divinely led. Everything I need comes to me quickly and easily under grace." In weeks, her entire life rearranged itself to match her faith. That is the law at work. It is not reserved for a chosen few. It works for anyone who dares to use it. So, here is my challenge to you. For the next 7 days, speak only words of life. Catch yourself when you complain. Stop rehearsing pain. Refuse to talk about what you don't want. Instead, begin every morning with gratitude. Declare, "This is a day of blessings, and I expect miracles." Throughout the day, affirm, "I am guided, protected, and supplied." At night, release every burden by saying, "Spirit is handling every detail of my life. I rest in perfect peace." If you will do this for 7 days, you will notice a shift. Do it for 30 days, and your life will be unrecognizable. Your voice carries energy that shapes your environment. When you speak words of peace, you create an atmosphere of peace around you. When you speak words of abundance, you magnetize abundance. You are not at the mercy of your circumstances. You are the architect of them. If you want a different tomorrow, you must begin to speak differently today. Say these words with me now. I choose to speak life. I choose to speak faith. I choose to speak truth. My words are powerful, and I use them to create blessings in every area of my life. Feel the strength of those words. Let them sink deep into your soul. This is not positive thinking. This is spiritual law. Your faith-filled declarations are creating an energetic blueprint, and life will always rise to match that blueprint. No matter what you are facing right now, you have the power to change it with your words. If you are in debt, speak abundance. If you are lonely, speak love. If you are sick, speak health. Do not wait for circumstances to improve before you open your mouth. Open your mouth now and declare your victory. Speak boldly because your authority was given to you by the Creator Himself. You are a child of God, and your words carry divine weight. Today is the day to step into your power. No more careless words. No more speaking fear and expecting faith to work. From this moment forward, choose every word with intention. Bless your life with every breath you take. Bless your family, your finances, your health, your relationships, and your dreams. Declare good over everything that concerns you. The world will bend to match the vibration of your voice, because that is how God designed it. Let your life become a testimony. Let others look at you and see the power of spoken faith in action. Let your story prove that miracles are not random. They are the natural result of someone who dares to speak life every day. You are that person now. You are stepping into alignment with a law that cannot fail. So I leave you with this charge: speak boldly. Speak faithfully. Speak as if everything you desire is already yours. Because in spirit, it already is. And as you continue to speak life, your tomorrow will bloom with blessings, peace, and miracles beyond your imagination. Your words are your wand. Use them wisely, and you will create a life that reflects the glory and abundance of God Himself. Start today, start this very moment, and watch your entire world transform.